All right, we are waiting to talk to Kerry Coleman. Kerry Coleman is also running for Congress in the 13th District. So in just a moment, I'm going to nonchalantly tap his shoulder and see if we can talk to Kerry here soon. Coleman, he is running for Congress in the Ohio 13th.
Because I'm a conservative. I want to get government off of your back. I want to help you live life so that it is the best for you in terms of raising a family, getting the tax burden, the regulatory burden, getting that all down so it's a manageable level. I believe in the American dream. The Democrats want to take that away. Let's fight. It's going to be devastating. If we lose control of the Senate, Ronald Reagan said, freedom is no more than one generation away from extinction. I'm here to tell you, with all due respect, Mr. President, it's much closer than that. We're one election away from extinction in terms of our freedoms. And if you don't like that, if you're an uber card-carrying liberal, excuse the hell out of me.
I love that. Thank you so much.
bet.
I appreciate it. All right, that was Kerry Coleman running for Congress.
Leave Northeast Ohio. I think when they leave, it's because they get a job someplace else or they can't afford to live here. There's things we can do to fix that. More jobs in Ohio, bring property taxes down.
He's 19. So I'm going to ask you, one, how old you are, and two, why now? Why not in the next 10 years when you maybe get some more experience under your belt? Why is right now the time that you absolutely have to run?
Yep, absolutely. So I'm 24. And I tell people this isn't my first rodeo. So I ran for the Revere School Board when I was only 18. I was still a student in high school, and I got elected to the Revere School Board.
Seriously?
Yeah, I did. And I served on that board during COVID. I'm elected to office, and I think I have a track record, even though I'm young, for being able to deliver for Northeast Ohioans.
That's incredible. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Thank you. All right.
Please take your seats for us to get started. Time's up on the reception. We will have a timekeeper tonight. Time's up on the reception. And moving on to dinner program. For those who have just come, welcome to the Ohio Christian Alliance Freedom Banquet Candidate Forum. And I just want to acknowledge our candidates tonight. We'll be acknowledging all of you, and if Brian will stand up.
First Commander-in-Chief, I really do appreciate those men and women who are willing to put their name on the line, their time, and effort and finance and energy to run for political office, to represent their fellow Ohioans. And I want to say something. Regardless of what happens in the primary or in November, there will be Ohioans that will vote for you. That means they took that sacred vote and they cast it with your name. I hope that you appreciate that, no matter how many votes you get. That's a sacred thing in this republic. What are we doing here really tonight? Policy briefings that we have had as well. We've had over 40 of these types of events. Why is that important? It's because it's important for people of faith to be involved in the process. As our founders encouraged us and even gave us a warning in that early generation, you have a republic if you can keep it. And we endeavor to do that. And we endeavor to do that by way of education with the Ohio Christian Alliance, with our used to read. And a little later in the program, you're going to hear some young people read the Declaration of Independence. We actually have copies of the Declaration of Independence for you on your table, and I hope that you'll take it with you, and I hope that you'll read it with your family. Maybe it's this 4th of July and our 250th anniversary as a nation, that you'll take time to read it with your children, your grandchildren. Anybody plan on doing that? Let's celebrate this great document. Amen? Well, we also have some free handouts also of the Declaration of Independence. Please take opportunity to do that, and the Constitution as well. And you're going to hear some young people, like I said, reading at the State House as they did a little later. But with that, we are going to, if you would stand with us, we're going to have the Pledge of Allegiance. Who has been deployed for 8 weeks. And so we asked Frank, if he would, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Let's listen to this message.
Well, hi, everybody. It's Ohio Secretary of State Frank LaRose, and welcome to the annual Freedom Banquet with the Ohio Christian Alliance. Really wish I could be with you all, and I think many of you know this is an event that I don't often miss. It's one that I love to attend year in and year out. Of course, the reason I'm not able to be there is that I'm away on Army duty, so I'm currently Sergeant First Class LaRose instead of Secretary of State LaRose, but I look forward to being with you all again next year. One of the reasons why this is an event that I never want to miss is, well, two things really. It's the company. I enjoy my friends, all of you supporters of the Ohio Christian Alliance. Great to get together with has been our voice as people of faith in government, at the local level, state level, and at the federal level, standing up for things that matter to us and should matter to every Ohio and every American. Things like religious freedom, things like protecting our values, those values that truly made Ohio and made America great. That's the work that the Ohio Christian Alliance does on a daily basis, and only through your support tonight can that work continue. Special word of thanks to my friend Chris Law. The fight that needs to be waged, unfortunately, on a near daily basis. And enjoyed working with Chris when I was in the state Senate and still do as the Ohio Secretary of State. Of course, the work that we do at the Secretary of State's office is crucial. It's all about protecting the integrity of our elections, making sure that the people's voice can be heard in a convenient way, of course, but also in a secure way. And so, yeah, we take deceased voters off the voter rolls. We don't apologize for that. We make sure that only American citizens can be registered to vote in Ohio. We check IDs. We do post-election audits. We have bipartisan coverage where Democrats and Republicans work together. And, of course, we fight off these whole variety of lawsuits that come our way, including just recently I had a big win in the United States Supreme Court that we're very proud of. Now, speaking of the work of elections administration, you're here to listen to some candidates tonight. They're here for the job interview. That's the way I've always viewed a campaign. These people are asking for you to hire them for a very important job, and so I would ask you to listen closely to what they have to say. Ask them the tough questions that you have on your minds, but also pray for them. As people of faith, that's our first line of defense, and for these candidates and for their families and for their staffs, it's a lot of long days and late nights and hundreds and hundreds of miles on the road, really every week, crisscrossing the state of Ohio. So thanks to these candidates for being here. Now, Chris asked me if I would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, but before we stand for the pledge, just a couple thoughts about what these words mean, because I think too often they just kind of roll off our tongues and we don't necessarily stop to think about the profound words in the Pledge of Allegiance. Of course, it is a promise. It's a promise that we're making to be loyal, of course, to this flag and to what it stands for. And you know how much the flag means to all of us as patriots. I think you have seen, and I have seen, that flag being gently folded and placed into the hands of a grieving widow. We've seen that flag on the shoulders of some of America's bravest and finest patriots, flying atop some of the world's most impressive buildings, even on the moon, placed there by an Ohioan. And that flag means a lot, but it's what America stands for that really means the most. It's that idea of human freedom. It's that idea that our rights come from our Creator, not from government, but the government must be instituted in order to protect those rights and to preserve those rights. And so if you would please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Now, to do a proper Pledge of Allegiance, you need a flag, but where I am, there just aren't a lot of American flags around. So I did some thinking, and I realized that this flag patch that I wear on my Army uniform would be a good stand-in. So if you would, please place your hands over your hearts and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much, everyone. May God continue to bless the United States of America, the great state of Ohio, and may God continue to bless the good work done by the Ohio Christian Alliance. Have a great evening, everyone.
Please remain standing as Pastor Nate Harmon of Louisville Baptist Temple leads us in the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, those bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Pastor Nate. Now we're going to have Pastor Dave Nadel lead us in an invocation.
Well, good evening. I just want to say very quickly, as we are here with the Ohio Christian Alliance as Christian folks, as many of you are, some may not be, but we celebrated the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And the power of what that resurrection means for all of us. And I just want to real quickly, there was prophecy, Old Testament, in the book of Hosea that said after 3 days he will raise us up. You know, the promise was to Israel. But along with that, he said all of us who will believe and all of us who will come in can experience the very same thing. And so the Bible tells us about a time that he said that we have a lively hope, and it's by the resurrection of Jesus Christ. That means we have a living hope, a hope that will bring life in every one of us. And we don't have just a Savior who rose from the dead, but the Bible says he ever lives to make intercession for every one of us. When nobody else hears us, when nobody else knows what we're going through, remember, a living Lord Jesus who rose from the dead, the stone rolled away not so he could come out, but so they could come in. And the power of God is supposed to be working in every one of us. Back in the Old Testament, when you read about in Jeremiah there where it says God has a plan for every one of us, he said when he sent him into that land, in that land, pray for the good in that land so that you may do well.
That's right.
Now, all of us who believe in the resurrection, we know we're going to be resurrected also, according to the Scriptures, as Paul said in Corinthians 15. And so we're only here for a season and a time, but we pray for the benefit of this place for our good, as is repeated in Timothy. Pray for them in authority, that you may live well. Amen? Amen? And so far, we've seen a nation that's been blessed, and so many of us have been blessed, and it's all because of Jesus and his blessing in our lives. So thank God for Jesus, and thank God for the resurrection of our Savior. He's not in the ground anymore. Everybody else serves somebody that's been buried and has not come back. Our Savior lives forever. Amen? So, Father, if you will, just bow your heads with me. We thank you for this time. Pray your blessing with the Alliance and with Pastor Chris here and all that are involved. Ask you to move in a great and mighty way with our President, with the Congress, and so on. Everything that we're doing right now, Lord, so many people are in upheaval. But in the midst of it, you bless us, you provide for us, you meet our needs. We thank you for that. Ask your blessing on the food, your blessing on this administration here, in what we have, and going to the State House and everything else that's being done. Some of these judges that are now pushing for the parental rights bills and so on. Ask your blessing in all of this, and pray that the good people of God see the need for prayer and the need to have their voice be known in the midst of all of these things. We thank you for that. We give you all the praise. We ask it all in our Lord and Savior's name, Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. You may be seated. Dinner is served. continue your dinner, we're going to recognize candidates at this time. We're going to keep the trains moving on time. We'd like to recognize office holders, candidates at this time, and those representing campaigns of candidates that could not be here tonight because you can't be two places at once. But they wanted to have representation, and we'll be recognizing some individuals. Our State Treasurer, Robert Sprague, is with us tonight.
Judge from the 9th District.
Let's see.
Judge, there we go. Judge from the 9th District Court of Appeals and candidate for Ohio Supreme Court, Jill Lanziger.
Candidate for Ohio Governor on the May 5th primary, Casey Putsch, is with us tonight. Casey?
Kerry Coleman is here, candidate for 13th Congressional District for Congress.
Neil Patel, candidate for the 13th Congressional District, the Republican primary. Candidate for the 31st House District, that's right here in Summit County, Mike Cahoe is here with us tonight. Mike Cahoe.
Also running for Ohio House of Representatives, District 31, Stephanie Stock.
What I like to call the B-1 Bomber District, District 66 over in Medina. Have you seen it? It looks like a B-1 bomber. That's Aiden Haggard. B-1 Aiden over there, right there, May 5th primary.
Candidate for 9th District Court of Appeals, Cindy Curtin. Welcome.
Bryant Pratt is representing Vivek Ramaswamy tonight. And a program note along that line is that a video was submitted, but it was after hours, as it were, and we will be posting that up on Facebook and on social media. There will be a special message from Vivek Ramaswamy, gubernatorial candidate for the May 5th primary.
Excellent. Candidate for State Treasurer, State Representative Jay Edwards. This is probably a good time to introduce, you saw the video, Caitlin Rogner is here representing her mother, Christina Rogner, who's running for State Treasurer as well. Scott Stevenson is a judge of the 9th District Court of Appeals. Welcome, Judge Stevenson.
Diana Stevenson, judge for Barberton Municipal Court.
And Judge Stevenson is also a candidate for probate court this year in Summit County.
Go ahead.
Mary Ann Cezone, judge of Ashtabula County, is here. Welcome, Judge.
Carl DiFranco, Lake County Clerk of Courts, is here tonight.
Magistrate from Ashtabula County, Richard Dana.
Max Kovacs, who's representing Bernie Marino, Senator Bernie Marino tonight. Max Kovacs.
Tina Ludwig is representing candidate for Attorney General and Auditor Keith Faber. Welcome, Tina Ludwig.
Paul Gallagher is representing Colleen O'Donnell, a candidate for the Ohio Supreme Court. Thank you, Paul.
Yes, Sheriff Bruce Sikowski from Portage County is here. Welcome, Sheriff. And Claire Jimerson is here. She is a member of the Educational Service Center from Summit County. And Greg Wolf. He is a Stark County ESC member as well. And he's a candidate for House District 48 in Stark County. Welcome, Mr. Wolf.
Wendy Sargent, Vice Chairman, newly elected of the Medina County Republican Party, is with us tonight.
Also representing the Summit County Educational Service Center, Ed Sturkey is here this evening. Welcome, Ed.
The Portage County Auditor, Matt Kelly, is with us tonight.
And Judge Katarina Cook from the Domestic Relations Court running for re-election. Welcome, Judge Cook.
And an honorable mention to Kate Macra, the former president of Cleveland Right to Life, current Action Coalition of Ohio. Thanks for coming. I also want to recognize Lisa Woods of McFan. Lisa. Some of our coalition groups. Tom Zawistowski of We the People Convention. Go ahead.
Are there any other candidates that are on the ballot this year that we did not announce, who did not sign in as candidates that we would like to recognize now?
Here representing Senator John Houston.
Wonderful. Thank you. Tell Senator Houston we said hello. And we saw his video earlier.
Very good.
Very good.
Okay.
Portage County Prosecutor Connie. She's here.
Oh, Portage County Prosecutor.
Portage County Prosecutor.
Connie Lewandowski.
What's that?
Connie Lewandowski.
Connie Lewandowski. Lewandowski, thank you. What are we doing offending the prosecutor for, Brian? Now I can't go to Portage County. Another reason why I can't go to Portage County. We won't mention the other reason why I can't go to Portage County. By the way, I am writing a book of my personal testimony of how I came to faith in Christ 49 years ago in 1977. The whole family came to faith in Christ that year. But I'm now checking with attorneys as I'm writing some of the BC material for my book to see what the statute of limitations is on some of this material, Brian.
Be careful.
We'll be careful. Well, we're going to move right into our program. Casey, you ready? Casey at bat. Casey Putsch, who is candidate for Ohio governor on your May 5th primary ballot. There you go.
Thank you. I am deeply honored to be here with you all. Thank you. Tonight, many of you have seen me on YouTube, on social media. And I think it's fair to say that politics in this day and age is nasty. The world has become nastier. So tonight, especially given that this is in fact the Ohio Christian Alliance, and that faith means a great deal to me, I'd like to simply bring some dignity and grace back to this evening. With regard to my campaign and why I'm here, it's simple. I didn't like what I saw. My soul was on fire. In December, I took a leap of faith to run for office. And I remember vividly speaking with my wife, and I was thinking of this because I knew what was happening was wrong. And I asked my wife, how do I know the moment to run? And she had a brilliant thing to say, as you would in business. She says, I think you run when you know you have the support. And I said, that would be nice, but I don't think it's going to work like that. I think it's going to be a leap of faith. And I think it's going to get to the point when I can't take it anymore. But the reason I'm here and the reason is because I didn't like what I saw, and that came from a lifetime of working to make the future better and finding out how difficult that actually is. I had started the Genius Garage Educational Program back in 2013, and that's a 501c3, to mentor young engineering students and bridge the gap from academia to industry. It worked from day one, and I have young people with amazing jobs everywhere from Lockheed Martin to Tesla, Fiat Chrysler, Marathon Oil, and a whole host of startups. It made the difference. But the school wasn't doing that. You can graduate a 4-year degree in engineering and never turn a screwdriver. I didn't like what I saw with the American education system. And in this over decade, I've got over 10,000 hours volunteered in it. Gotten a couple Presidential Lifetime Achievement Awards. I'm honored to be wearing my pin from President Trump tonight. I even got to fly with the Thunderbirds. But I was sad because I realized there's no support, and this is what school needs. This is what our educational system needs, and I saw how the sausage was made. Some of you may have seen me on Tucker Carlson's program about a year ago, speaking about the high-efficiency diesel car I built. I was negatively inspired by hearing Obama's hollow rhetoric in 2008, when he said, I'll help Detroit retool so the energy-efficient cars of tomorrow built here for the sake of the world and the nation. And And I thought BS. I knew he wasn't going to do it. And as a car guy and car builder, I set out to do something I knew would be better. And it got over 100 miles per gallon on diesel and has the same acceleration curve as a Tesla Model 3. And when you do the math, it has a lower carbon footprint per mile on diesel than an EV does when charged at home. But that's not the narrative we see in the world. That's not the push politically, and I didn't like that. I even started a small watch company building mechanical watches from Swiss parts because I'd like to see manufacturing come back to Ohio and create jobs. And we have tariffs, and that's something that is supposed to incentivize bringing manufacturing back. But where's the support? And this is what's driven me. Also in doing YouTube, automotive YouTube, I did that because with the nonprofit and getting exposure for it, I couldn't get any publicity. And I refused to let that fail because I knew it made the difference for these young people. So I used my ability to tell stories, oftentimes sophomoric and silly, I will admit, to get exposure for the nonprofit, and it worked. But in doing social media since 2019, I also saw how the sausage was made. I saw how each social media platform, from TikTok to Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, each one is programmed differently to keep us all addicted and fighting, strumming the chord of the lowest common denominators of all of us and dividing us for gain. And I didn't like that. I didn't like how during the Biden years, I was watching the Democrats destroy the social fabric of America. And this drove me to the political arena. I thought about running for Congress, but I find myself here now running for your governor. Now, enough of the policy, because tonight I'd like to speak about, frankly, my faith and a little story of my grandfather. The ring I'm wearing on my right hand is from Columbus High School, 1943, and is my grandfather's high school graduation ring. He wore that in the Battle of Okinawa when he landed on the beach Easter Sunday, April Fool's, 1945, carrying an M1 Garand and this Bible. It was a gift to him from his Sunday school teacher, Mrs. Stevens, in 1933. This was the Bible that he carried in one of the bloodiest, worst battles of the war. This is the Bible that, as he put it, when all H broke loose, he ended up in a cave, a burned out cave. There was hell on earth. And he spent the night sitting on the corpse of the enemy, polishing his bullets and reading his Bible, wondering how many he could get before they got him. But he got out. He graduated in 1950 on the GI Bill from Ohio State University. And I'm third generation Ohio State. He was an optometrist in Sydney, Ohio. Didn't miss a home game for over 50 years. He put the war behind him, but he was a great man. His younger brother flew for the Ohio Air Guard in the 70s, F-4 Phantoms in Vietnam, nuclear B-52s during the Cold War. Their brother-in-law flew darn near everything through World War II and retired at the F-86. Their father was both world wars. In fact, my grandfather was stationed in Honolulu as a little boy in the 30s before Pearl Harbor, of course, and the grandfather before that was in the cavalry. But that's family. That's Ohio. Those are roots. And we're here because of faith. Faith in the future, faith in family, faith in community, all because of faith in God. My grandfather was a great mentor to me. He cared about politics. Oh, did he ever care? And he told me so many things he saw since the war. The changing of the culture, world powers, how they would influence and divide the United States. He helped. My grandfather was, in fact, Jim Jordan's first campaign manager when he ran for state. He genuinely cared and was always proud. But to be honest, when I was a young man, I cared a lot more about building fast cars and going on dates with pretty girls. But it still stuck with me. Something else about faith. My family is small. Both of my parents were only children. And my grandparents were very close to me. They were married 74 years before my grandmother passed, and then my grandfather the next year, which I still will probably never quite forgive Amy Acton for locking down the state, because I would have to sneak and sit outside the window. Yes. I hope you all don't mind me not giving a fireball speech tonight. I can do that another time, but I just want to speak from the heart. No, I would sneak and I would sit in the grass outside his window when he was all locked up after my grandmother had passed, to keep him company. And a few years before that, he called me. My grandmother was incredibly ill. Didn't think she was going to make it in the hospital. And I was the first one of the family to be able to get there. Probably helped that I have a nice sports car. But I remember getting out there and standing outside, and she looked awful. And the doctor came out and told us what was wrong, that she needed a blood transfusion. But she had a card that said, no blood. Now what I'm going to tell you is something that I've kind of kept to myself my whole life because there's a lot of pain. A very close member of my family when I was a child became a Jehovah's Witness. And one year when I was a kid, all birthdays and holidays and Easter and Christmas and traditions vanished. But my grandfather and grandmother, they kept the traditions alive. They kept the faith alive. I didn't like that happened to my family. I didn't like how it divided it. But it did give me an experience when I was young that my journey now, after my grandparents have passed, and coming back to Christ and finding my faith is paramount. And I believe in it concretely because I had a very negative experience as a young man that I didn't believe in, and I held back. I wanted you to all know that. Because my life is genuinely an open book. The entirety of my adult life through Genius Garage, fighting for over a decade, no support, no leadership from the government, seeing everything bad happen when we could make a difference. The same with the Omega car. You can make a difference, but there's no opportunity to do so. Being a YouTuber, mentoring young men and women, watching the social fabric of America be destroyed, and to this day watching Christians be taken advantage of because of our good nature turning the other cheek. I see it to this day. And I had to stand. Stand for these values. Because the United States of America is the greatest nation on earth. We have our problems. And I respect and believe in freedom of religion. I think that's very important, and I will fight for that. But this country was founded on Christian values. It's my firm belief it's those values that allowed us to build it into this great nation. One that, at this day, it seems everyone wants to take advantage of. I'm not okay with that. I frankly don't like how I've had to be on social media from time to time. It's a nasty, vicious place. I would hope you all see that I'm in fact a real human being with a heart and a mind and willing to stand and fight, no different than my grandfather. But the truth about Christianity and Christians, we've done it right. We want to build a family. And the reason I'm here because there is a time when we need to start flipping some tables. That time is now, and that is why I'm running for governor. I will also mention that I am in fact the only Christian on this ticket. If they are to be leaders of an entire state, $100 billion economy, the Ohio National Guard, a fleet of F-16s, and all of our family's future, who holds them accountable? So I can answer that question for you with me. I answer to the man upstairs. I'm not a pastor, and I'm not a perfect man.
Very good. Casey Putsch, governor candidate on your May 5th primary ballot. We're now going to see a video by candidate Marcel
State. Thank you for coming to the Ohio Christian Alliance Banquet and the opportunity for me to present who I am, my candidacy, and what I intend to deliver for results as your next Secretary of State. First and foremost, I'm a 20-year Air Force Intel officer. I'm raising my family of 3, 2, 6, and 9 here in Centerville, Ohio. My wife is a multi-generation Ohioan from Delaware for political outsiders and transformational leaders to step up. 9/11 veterans have the best capability to do that because we have been able to endure and persevere through conflict, complexity, and various pressures that many have not. And I've run large enterprises and organizations. For the first 10 years of my life, I eliminated terror targets by detecting and identifying the threats across the world, and then I took that understanding into the world of emerging and disruptive technologies and oversaw programs for the vice chairman joint my opponent, who've been in the political system for a long time, and they're term limited, and they're looking for the next role or the next position that they could take. I don't think that we should continue to hire people if we're in the middle of the pack on a variety of areas, and I also don't think that we should just give it to them because it's their term. So I'm challenging and competing in this particular cycle for the purposes of a real platform that is results driven. In Ohio, we have an election season when we should actually have an election day. We should be voting in person, and we should be doing it by hand marking our paper ballots for the best visibility and the most security possible. We'll also save millions of dollars not having to use electronic vote casting machines as the primary form of voting. The other thing we have to get a hold of is mail-in ballots. They are very susceptible to voter registration fraud. In Ohio, we do not require a photo ID to vote by mail, and that's just wrong. It's an unfair application of the law, and it invites fraud. The issues I also have come from third-party voter groups. We allowed people to handle our ballots, to register us with little oversight or enforcement, and when they commit fraud, as they did in Hamilton County and Cuyahoga County, there's very little consequence. This is not a system of accountability or integrity, and I had enough of this, having pushed for 3 election bills over the last 3 years, being completely focused on this task and realizing that political insiders who are too focused on avoiding getting on record or in some form being criticized, and they're not up for the fight with the Democrats who are going to fight them no matter what, are not the people to lead us in this regard. So I stepped up to be your next Secretary of State, and I've also got the experience having worked at a national task force to address issues of fraud. Right now, millions, if not billions of dollars are being defrauded in part by foreign nationals who've moved to this country and are taking advantage of Medicare programs. This is a result of the open border that Joe Biden created. And unless we have a Secretary of State who creates a process and a system of review and identifies questionable business filings and then decertifies those businesses, we're going to continue to be defrauded. I don't think that's the future our children deserve, and I'm not going to turn over a system like that to my kids to deal with. I'm Marcel Sturbich, and it'd be an honor if you would consider voting for me May 5th as your next Secretary of State.
There is a choice to be made in this race, and thank you, Chris, and the Ohio Christian Alliance for bringing in this forum the opportunity for you as voters to see both candidates. The next candidate running for Secretary of State in Ohio is not a stranger to voters in Ohio. For the past 7 years, he's represented us as Treasurer of the State of Ohio effectively, professionally, and without any sort of scandal or incompetence, and that's very important because that office every day deals with billions of dollars, not just state tax dollars, but local tax dollars. Prior to that, voters had selected him 3 times to be a state representative from Western Ohio State Representative District. He's been to Summit County many times, probably met you previously. Please welcome Robert Spray, candidate for Secretary of State.
That's wonderful. I got to tell you, when I was first running for the Treasurer's office, I called Joe Dieters. I said, Joe, what do I need to know about the Treasurer's office? He said, Robert, the only way that you end up on the front page of the newspaper is if you've done something horribly wrong. So I think we've succeeded there. We've kept billions of dollars of your taxpayer dollars safe. And I can tell you that I am now running for Secretary of State because I have proven to be a capable leader for the people of the state of Ohio. And I believe that if you're going to run elections with integrity, you've got to hire people of integrity to run those elections. I am a Christian. We belong to the Gateway Evangelical Presbyterian Church. I know that's an oxymoron, but that's where we go to church in Findlay, Ohio. It's where I live with my wife, Amanda, and our 5 kids. Now, look, I know what you're thinking about me when I tell you that I have 5 kids up here in Northeast Ohio. but we're not Catholic. We're just very active Protestants. And I believe in the rule of law. I believe in upholding the Constitution of the state of Ohio, and perhaps more importantly, the Constitution of the United States of America. I am not running to tear down our local boards of elections. They do an incredible job. Brian Williams is a member of our local board of elections and does an incredible job as executive director in Summit County. And by the way, I'd like to give a round of applause for all of you in this room who participate by helping us hold secure elections in the state of Ohio. Could we please give you a round of applause? I am not running to tear down the Secretary of State's office. I am running to build it up. My goal is to run the most secure elections in the history of the great state of Ohio. When I am Secretary of State, we will be a beacon for other states, that bright, shining city on the hill where they say, how are they able to run those secure elections in the state of Ohio without disenfranchising a single American voter? Here's how we do it, ladies and gentlemen. First, we move to an upfront citizenship check so that only American citizens can vote in our Ohio elections. The second thing, I will create an internal audit department like we have in the Treasurer's office, and we'll look at the current voter registrations. And I will find the people that are non-citizens. We will find the people that have moved out of our state, the illegal immigrants, and the people that have passed away, and they will be removed from the voter rolls of the great state of Ohio. The third thing, we will move to paper ballots in each and every county for every election so that we have an audit trail, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you, when you submit that separate printed piece of paper with your vote on it, who you know who you voted for, you create a perfect and immutable paper audit trail. And we will go back, and believe me, ladies and gentlemen, I know how to audit things. We will go back and we will count the paper to make sure that the machines are not rigged. It's the only way for us to have 100% accurate elections 100% of the time. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, I'm the only candidate in this race who is from Ohio and who has won an election in the state of Ohio. My family, as a matter of fact, has been in the state of Ohio for 192 years. I can remember going with my father to Jefferson Elementary School, where he cast his vote. And he pulled back the curtain, and you remember those old machines with the levers? I can remember my father voting. Ladies and gentlemen, as your next Secretary of State, I will lead the charge to return the state of Ohio to in-person voting, where everyone has to show their photo ID in the state of Ohio to be able to cast a ballot. And we will incorporate universal photo ID so that even those who are reserved with an excuse for an absentee ballot must show their photo ID, send in a copy of their photo ID with their ballot. But none of this matters unless you can win in November. And ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a tough race. It's going to be a tough cycle and a tough race, right, Tom? And let me tell you, can you name for me, ladies and gentlemen, the last two Democrat secretaries of state in the state of Ohio? Number one was Sherrod Brown, and the second? Jennifer Brunner, right? Right, Joe? So this race is going to matter, and let me tell you, the Democrats will put national George Soros and 314 Action Fund money into this race. And let me tell you what my Democrat opponent will do, Allison Russo. She will allow non-citizens to vote in our elections. She would love to mail everyone a ballot through the United States Postal Service. And finally, she will gut the photo ID system in the state of Ohio. How do we know this? Because that's what she voted for on the floor of the House. I will not let it happen. I hope that you will join me. I'm ready to win for our ticket. I've won not just at the local level or at the district level. I've won statewide twice. And in 2018, I led the Republican ticket. And so tonight, I'm asking you to join me. I'm asking you to join me to help win this race. I'm asking you to join me to help fight the fraud. Join me in restoring the trust in our elections. And join me, most importantly, in preserving this great republic. My name is Robert Sprague, candidate for Ohio Secretary of State, and may God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
All right. Our next speaker will be candidate for Ohio Treasurer, Jay Edwards. Jay is a native son of Southeast Ohio. Born and raised in Nelsonville, Jay went to Ohio University where he played football and graduated with his degree in mathematics. Shortly after graduating, Jay ran for office in 2016 at the age of 27. Inspired to run by President Trump, Jay flipped a Democratic seat to become a member of the Ohio House of Representatives, where he served until 2025 when he reached his term limit. As State Representative, Jay quickly moved up to the House leadership and eventually served as the House Finance Committee Chair, where he sponsored and passed a $3.2 billion tax cut and universal school choice. Please welcome our candidate, Jay.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here in Akron tonight, and I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I want to tell you a couple of key things, and I want to get to some important things about me in this race. Number one, I'm 100% pro-life. I voted on the heartbeat bill multiple times. What has been done to our Constitution is disgusting here in the state of Ohio. I'm also 100% pro-God, and I say this in the middle of a political campaign. You can tell a lot about the Christianity of someone by the way they treat their opponents in some of these races. And I say I'm 100% pro-gun. I grew up hunting and fishing with my father. I believe in the Second Amendment. I probably own more guns than most people in this room, and I very much am proud of that. I got 100% voting record with the high gun owners and an A+ record with them. But I also like, and those are three things that often get mentioned in Republican primaries. I like to add one more thing that I think is very important. I'm 100% pro-common sense. And what do I mean by common sense? Well, obviously, common sense, we back the blue, right, Sheriff? We back the blue. I'm common sense in helping sponsor the legislation that men don't belong in women's locker rooms. I'm common sense in the sense of we can't allow children to experiment with transgender hormones and therapies. Common sense in the sense of I don't think it's very Christian what's going on right now with property taxes taxing people out of their homes, while the state of Ohio is giving $600 million to the Cleveland Browns to build a football stadium. It's ridiculous. I'm common sense in a lot of things and what I want to do in this office. I don't think it's very Christian or common sense either to allow the Somali population to take our taxpayer monies in South Columbus. You think Minneapolis is bad, South Columbus is just as bad. We got to get a grip on it. I'm running to be your next state treasurer not because I want to be a higher office or I'm playing the game of musical chairs. I'm running because I have a plan to be your next state treasurer. Your state treasurer takes your taxpayer money and invests those funds. About 85% of the money that we collect right now goes to the big banks, the ones owned by BlackRock and Vanguard and State Street, the ones that hate and discriminate against conservatives every day. I'll give you an example. Bank of America holds some of your taxpayer money right now. Just 2 years ago, Bank of America debanked the Trump Organization, debanked Turning Point USA, debanked the National Rifle Association. They have no problem doing business with Black Lives Matter and Planned Parenthood. In my opinion, Bank of America does not have a right to hold Ohioans' taxpayer money. We put an end to it on day one when I'm your next state treasurer. The second thing, we have to restore trust back in the people when we're spending money on football stadiums and Somalis in South Columbus. Josh Mandel started a great program in the Ohio Treasurer's Office called the Ohio Checkbook Program. Ohio as a state is on that system. Local governments, it's voluntary. I want to require local governments to be on that system. I want to update the system with new technology, and I want to make it simple. You got to be a Rhodes Scholar to understand that software right now. I want to make it simple for the layman to look at that, and I want to update software so we are tracking every dollar of taxpayer money that's being spent across the state of Ohio, whether it's Somalis or whether it's stadiums or the Haitians in Springfield. We are going to restore trust back in the people of the way we're spending our taxpayer money. And lastly, I want to be a statewide office holder. I want to be your next state treasurer because I want to speak on issues. I don't attack people. I don't attack Republicans. But I attack issues. And right now in this state, we have a supermajority Republican in the House and a supermajority Republican in the Senate. We're 6 years post-COVID. We still don't have medical freedom in this state. we're giving money to football stadiums. Who's going to stand up? And sometimes that means when you attack issues, you can't be afraid to take on. Sometimes it's going to land on fellow conservatives. We have to hold people's feet to the fire. Again, it's not about the person. It's not about the party. It's about what's right and wrong and transparency in government and holding people's feet to the fire. I am going to speak on these issues, whether they fall in line with the state treasurer's office or not. I'm going to speak about important issues. I want you to go to bed every night knowing there is somebody in the state government, on the statewide ticket, that is, if they're not trying to help you and figure things out and protecting your taxpayer dollars, at least I'm going to be speaking to it and holding elected officials' feet to the fire. I'm Jay Edwards. I've been endorsed by Bernie Moreno. I've been endorsed by this guy named J.D. Vance. I got into the race, and thank you very much. We love J.D. I would love to get your vote to be your next state treasurer. Thank you very much. God bless you. Thank you, Chris and Brian, for hosting this event.
Thank you, Jay. Appreciated those thoughts and comments. We're running pretty good here. Everybody's taking that really to heart. We didn't actually have to use our timekeeper. Hey, hold up your timekeeper cards there. What do you got? Didn't even have to hold that up. How about that? Well, we're going to turn the corner here to the 13th Congressional District. How many believe that a Republican can win in the 13th Congressional District? We have two very fine primary choices, and a few others as well, that are running in the 13th Congressional in the May 5th primary. And it's my pleasure to introduce Neil Patel. Neil's journey embodies the American dream and the power of dedicated public service. As a community leader, Neil has forged partnerships that transcended borders, cultures, and political divides, bringing unprecedented economic opportunities to Ohio. His unwavering commitment to unity, empowerment, and integrity has positioned him as a transformational leader who believes that government must serve all people, not just the connected. Through decades of diplomatic excellence, community advocacy, and business leadership, Neil has championed economic empowerment, educational access, and social justice across Ohio's diverse communities, creating thousands of jobs and facilitating billions in investment. Candidate for the 13th Congressional District, Neil Patel.
Good evening, everyone, and Jai Sri Krishna. My name is Neil Patel. I landed in United States in 1979. From 79 to 85, I was in Chicago. From Chicago to Ohio, came in 1985. From 85 to today, we are doing business since 1980. And actually, I've been married for the last 36 years. We have my wife, we have 4 children, 1 adopted son. My oldest daughter, she's a doctor, naturopath, MD. We have a twin daughter. One of them twins got married and moved to India. And second twin, she's an immigration and corporate lawyer. My fourth, one is boy. He's a stand-up comedian, and he's working for BMW. And fifth one is adopted son. He is right now actually working on a cybersecurity on IT. Then, actually, a business owner since 1980. I call myself son of 3 mothers. My first mother, who gave birth to me, raised me, and cared for me. And that is my biological mother. My second mother gave me honesty, integrity, and brotherhood. And that is Mother India. And my third mother is giving me today even bread, butter, my family, everything's given by Mother America. And I'm proud of Mother America, and I do. And Mother America gives us everything to us, all children. I was married in Ohio as well. And that's the reason actually right now I do Pledge of Allegiance to our flag every morning, no matter where I'm in the world. Because Mother America gives everything to us. I'm so proud of our nation, and that's the reason actually I'm running for office. Because America gives us everything to us. And my slogan is faith, family, and freedom. Faith from the God. Without God, I don't think so we can make a one step forward. without God. Because my uncle, he was 59-year-old. He passed away. And next morning, he didn't wake up. That's the reason I said, without God, we cannot go nowhere. Faith, family. Without family, we cannot go anywhere either. We have to support family from our state, our country, and all over everywhere. Freedom. We should have the freedom. That freedom is given to us by the God, not actually any Democrat or Republican. Nobody gives the freedom to us. Our Constitution, freedom is provided by the God. For faith, family, and freedom, that's actually building the stronger future for the nature. I'm a constitutional conservative, and I'm pro-life. Okay. And economic priorities I'm giving. Lower taxes for families and small businesses. We want to make sure that lower taxes for our family and businesses. Reduce the federal spending. We are spending a lot of money on federal spending. We got to reduce the federal spending. Bring back manufacturing, sustainable and high-paying job. And that's we can do that because we know that I'm connected with the Indian ambassador the last 22 years from India to United States. And we bring the job here. Even Turner Construction Company from Cleveland, they built the Statue of Unity in India. And that statue is 2.5 times bigger than where I was born in India, sister state called Gujarat. We are the sister state. So far from Ohio to India, $1.4 billion. From India to Ohio, about $1.6 billion. That is the reason I'm running for this office. We want to bring a sustainable job in this area. Security and policy. Stronger border is most important for actually all citizens of our nation. Immigration policy, we want to make sure secure the immigration policy. Well-funded national defense. If you don't have the national defense well-funded, I think we can go to anywhere in the world. We want to make sure we got well-funded. Law and order. Because President Trump, whatever he's doing, the best job securing right now, a lot of criminals hiding. You don't see them anymore. That's why I love the President Trump. Whatever he's doing, I think he's doing the best job. Supporting Vivek Ramaswamy for property tax proposal, because the lots of property tax actually, a lot of people going out of business in the house even. That's why I'm supporting the property tax on the Vivek Ramaswamy for education. For education, expand school choices. School choices actually parent as well as the kids, where they want to go, they have a choice to that. That is the reason I'm talking about school choices expansion. Accountability. One more other thing actually, that is talking about, gender, policy of the gender changing and under 18. I think without parents' permission, they should not do that, period. Okay? And bathroom, they are using like boys and girls, same bathroom. I think that's disgusting. That's I hate that thing, So, and we want to make sure exactly we should not pass like those Democrats, whatever the ideas they have. Okay. And my promise to everyone who, when you elect us as a congressman, we're going to actually, I can say, answer to everyone within 48 hours. That is my promise to everyone, to all of you. Kevin ran in 2024. That time, our district has a -2 Republican. Right now, it's -4 right now. And only candidate have exactly chance to win this district. Without some of them, South Asian community, I think there is no other chance because Kevin lost by 8,000 votes. And right now, there is about, after gerrymandering, we got almost, I can say 4%, 48% Republican, 52% Democrat. That's the only chance we have is Neil Patel can beat the Amelia Sykes. Nobody else can beat the Amelia Sykes. And vote for me, please, on primary on May 5th. That's what I'm requesting everybody, my humble request to everyone, if you can vote for Neil Patel. Thank you very much, everyone. God bless you, and God bless America.
Thank you, Neil. As you can see, Neil's commitment and passion for God, his country, and our Republican Party principles is on full display tonight. Thank you for that passion. The next candidate that is running for the 13th Congressional District is Kerry Coleman. The name may sound familiar to you if you're the type of person. Carrie is a longtime meteorologist on all the news and airwaves and all the media market in Cleveland, Northeast Ohio for many years. But for the last 4 years, he's been talking 5 days a week, 4 hours a night about on WNIR, taking Amelia Sykes to task over and over and over again, hour after hour. And at some point, when he saw that Kevin Coughlin was not going to run, he decided to put his passion on display and leave his post on that radio station where they wanted him to stay and put his principles into action as a candidate for us to consider to elect in November for Congress for the 13th District. It is a tough district. These candidates know it. They still are putting their energy and time into it with great faith and commitment. Please welcome Kerry Coleman, candidate for Congress in the 13th District.
It is a great honor to be here. I mean, for all of you people running for office, those of you that hold office, Neil Patel, Kevin Simbita, the others running in the primary as Republicans for Ohio's 13th Congressional District, I thank you so much. I thank you for participating in this American experience because we need all of you. And I respect the other primary candidates as well, and it has been a gentleman's race. Not ever have I campaigned against you gentlemen. I like you. I respect you. It's always been against Amelia Sykes from day one. And in the end, I know we're all going to be on the same team. You know, our chairman, Summit County Republican chairman, has said over and over again, we cannot leave any Republican votes behind. We need them all, every single one of you. And that goes for disenfranchised Democrats and independents and all of you. Reverend Chris Long, thank you so much for what you've done, not just with this great gathering here tonight. What you've done for the Ohio Christian Alliance is nothing short of amazing. It doesn't matter what I am doing. When Reverend Long calls, I take that call, you know, and it doesn't matter. When I see his name show up, I'm going to take that call, but your advice, your admonishment, your guidance means everything to me. And I implore upon all the rest of you candidates, please call on this man. He will help you. The other little bit of hero worship that I want to do is for the Republican chairman of the Republican Party, Brian Williams. Now, this is without exaggeration. I talk to people throughout this district, throughout the state of Ohio, and throughout this country. And I hear the same thing. You know, I'm a novice. I'm a first-time candidate. So I'm learning a lot. And what I've learned about Brian Williams is that across this country, from Washington to Sacramento, you know what they call him? The best county chair in the country, and I believe it. And I hear it over and over again. I also want to thank my two sons, Chase and Tal. Without their blessing, I wouldn't be doing this. And my beautiful partner in life, Tang. Tang, raise your hand. Bend up high. A lovely, lovely lady. Thank you so much for giving your blessing for me to do this. Now, to the business of the campaign. You know, we all have to deal with the media. Wonderful folks, aren't they? Pretty much leftists, pretty much antagonists. They ask a lot of the same questions, too. For instance, what qualities do you have to be a U.S. representative in the 13th District of Ohio? Well, I can tell you one quality I've got. I'm not Amelia Sykes. And that says a lot. This lady has put the bar so low. I don't think that's saying much, but she's put the bar so low. She is the worst of the worst in Congress. She votes every single time on the Hill against the working people of the 13th District and against the working people of this country. She voted against no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, How do you do that? How do you do that if you want working people's votes? Does that not help the family? Does that not help us all? How do you vote against the Save America Act? It's not even controversial. When over 70% of Democrats think, good idea, voter ID, makes sense to me. 95% of Republicans, yeah, are you kidding me? It's a no-brainer. It is not a controversial issue. The only people that don't want the Save America Act are Democrats, including Amelia Sykes. Are you kidding me? They're not in touch. She's not in touch. Does she live here? Can you answer that? And by the way, how many of you just love e-check? Raise your hand. Come on. Come on, somebody. Nobody? I can tell you who does. She voted in a resolution to keep it in the State House, Amelia Sykes. State Representative Bill Romers introduced a bill that if the EPA does in fact repeal it, we will immediately follow suit and we'll get rid of it. We're in compliance now. Does that matter to Democrats? They want you to be under their thumb on everything, every element of your life. They like high taxes. That's more power to the government. They like more regulation. They want control of everything you do. I just went to get my e-check today, and I was just praying, engine light, please don't come on. It didn't. I passed. But the time, and if that engine light were on, the money. Amelia Sykes likes e-check. I have been working, quite honestly, Dakota and I, my campaign team, have been working directly with Washington, the EPA, Trump's folks, the administration, to get rid of e-check. We're in compliance. Our air's pretty good, except when they start all the fires in Canada. Our air's pretty good, okay? E-check right now is not helping air quality. Amelia Sykes still wants it. We're working to get rid of it. We cannot vote for this lady anymore. She has been exposed. She campaigns as a moderate. She campaigns as this nice, sweet person. And all the money and the apparatus that she's got with the liberal leftist Democrats, she's got a lot of money. She's got a slick campaign. But guess what? She governs as the most radical leftist in Washington. Nobody beats her with the radical left votes that she cast on Capitol Hill. Ilhan Omar. There's a classic for you. She scored 11% on the Freedom Index, 11%. Now that's abysmal. That's terrible. Amelia Sykes scored 0 in the 119th Congress in 2025. She scored 0. Along with her great friend, business partner, and campaign partner, Jasmine Crockett. She hangs out, takes vacations with Ilhan Omar. I don't think she loves this country. I think she hates this country. Stacey Plaskett from the Virgin Islands. Jasmine Crockett. And guess who shows up at her campaign events? Sheila Sherfilis McCormick, indicted on $5 million FEMA fraud and convicted on 25 ethics violations in the House. These are Amelia Sykes' buddies and business partners. She can't hide anymore. She's got a lot of money, puts out some slick ads, appeals to you on text, social media, mainstream advertising. But guess what? She can't hide anymore. She's been found out. She will never once vote for you and your family and decency. That's what I want for America. I want to grow jobs in the 13th District. We will, in a few weeks, unveil an economic plan, a jobs growth plan, an infrastructure plan for the 13th District. And I'm proud of it. It's got some teeth. It can do some great things. But the one thing you need to grow jobs in the 13th District, and we have lost tens of thousands of high-paying jobs. in Northeast Ohio since the Democrats took control. Okay? Very clear. But the one thing that we need in Northeast Ohio is somebody to pitch companies, bring government, local, state, federal elements of government and business together. We need to work to make it a climate much more friendly for business and labor. We need to bring them together. Amelia Sykes doesn't give a damn, okay? She's not going to do it. I will work my tail off, not just in Washington, but right here. And the other thing I promised Brian, when I'm not in Washington, I'm working for candidates. I'm working for city council folks. I'm working for people running for county commissioner, mayorships, school boardships. I want to grow this party. I want to make Summit County red again. It will be 50 years that the Democrats controlled the 13th district at the end of this term. Newt Gingrich told me one time, Kerry, very young man, 19 years old, he said, Kerry, I'm the first Republican elected to the 6th district of Georgia since Reconstruction. And I'm here to tell you I'm going to be the first Republican elected to the 13th District of Ohio since deconstruction. I need your vote. Thank you so much. Please go out in the primary. Get your neighbors to vote. Hey, and write a big check, too. Thank you.
We have another candidate running statewide from Summit County for the Ohio Supreme Court. Jill Lanzinger is currently the 9th District Court of Appeals judge. Previously, she was a judge on the Common Pleas Court. She was also a judge at the Barberton Municipal Court and has worked in the court, graduate of the University of Akron School of Law. Her and her husband make their home here in Summit County. She's an outstanding vote getter, a wonderful person. When she first introduced, I got to tell them a story when Judge Lanzinger first introduced herself to a room full of folks at a northern Summit County campaign event back around 12, 14 years ago in a race she ran, but I don't think she won. But nonetheless, she introduced herself, and she talked about how she grew up in a Christian home. And in that Christian home, they listened to Christian music. And I said, just Christian music? She said, yes, no secular music. I said, no Frank Sinatra? She said, just secular music, or just Christian music, no secular music. And I said, well, I think you missed out there, but she is, when you're talking to Jill Lansing, you're talking to a quality person who lives out, not only in her personal life, but in her professional life. And that's why she's received endorsements from so many people who value faith when they make their recommendations. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jill Lanzinger, candidate for Ohio Supreme Court. Frank Sinatra, I've got to get you in the car.
Thank you for having me tonight. It's such an honor to speak with you. I'm Judge Jill Lanzinger. I'm a judge of the 9th District Court of Appeals. In the 9th District Court of Appeals in Summit County, they call me Judge Jill. It's an easy way to remember my name when you vote. There's no other Jill running for the Ohio Supreme Court. It's kind of like Judge Judy. I'm working on my eye roll in court. I've been Ohio judge for over 10 years. That makes me the longest, the judge with the most experience in this Supreme Court race. No other candidate has served as an Ohio judge for over 10 years. Also, I'm the only candidate who has served at every level of the judiciary. I served for over 5 years at the Barberton Municipal Court, over 2 years at the Summit County Common Pleas Court, and now over 3 years in the Appellate Court. And I have a reputation and a track record of being a tough judge, of being a judge who cares about accountability, about a judge who cares about personal responsibility. I'm a judge who cares about constitutional rights, and I have lots of writing on that, and I have lots of proof that that's the kind of judge I am. And even during COVID, that's going to come up here pretty soon. We're going to start being asked what we did as public officials during COVID. Guess what we did? We kept our court open for COVID. We had personal, even though our building was closed by our Democratic city, the other judge and I at the Barberton Municipal Court still had in-person hearings. Obviously, we spaced people out and we tried to have things via Zoom, but we made sure the court system still worked. We made sure we had a place to do jury trials that were spaced out because our constitutional rights matter even in times of crisis or perceived crisis or invented crisis. And I want to tell you a little bit about my background. There was a Northwest Ohio invasion today because I'm actually originally from Seneca County, Ohio. Just like Casey over here. I grew up, my mother was a teen mom. She got married on her 17th birthday. That's one of the reasons I'm personally pro-life, because my life matters. And so do my siblings, who were also born when my mom was a teen mom. And my mom raised me. She was a great mom. She raised me in a Christ-centered home. And like I said, I wasn't allowed to listen to anything but Christian music till I was about 12 or 13. So my first concert was a Carmen concert. I don't know if you know who that is. But you know what she told me? She told me, his eye is on the sparrow. She told me that I had a destiny, that I was born at such a time as this. And I didn't think I was a no one from nowhere. I knew I was a child of God and that I had a purpose. And that's what we were taught in my house. And that's what I believe, and that's what I believe today. And I believe I'm in this race for a reason. And I have a great peace right now, knowing that Christ is King, and that this race, every part of this race is in His hands. He knows the outcome. I know who goes before me. I know who stands behind. And I know that we are more than conquerors, and I know that weapons will form against us, all of us, but they won't prosper. And that's what we're going to be dealing with in this election, is weapons formed against us. We're in a time where we need to put on the full armor of God if we win this primary, because we're in an age where we have harassers, stalkers, trolls, AI videos that are false information. My race, I believe there will be lots of money involved against me. There will be weapons formed against us, but they won't prosper, and God knows the result of this election. He knows that we'll have the victory. I'll tell you, I met my husband in college. I grew up in Northwest Ohio in Fostoria. My husband's from Lucas County. And my husband wanted to go to medical school. I wanted to go to law school. So we moved to Northeast Ohio where he could get into medical school. See, it's harder to get into medical school. Either that or I'm smarter. And got into law. I went to the law school near him, but we have 3 kids. I have a son on the autism spectrum. That's another reason I'm personally pro-life. When you say that it's okay to have an abortion because the baby has a disability, my son can hear you say that. And what does that say about the value of his life? Amen. And I'm a Christian, obviously. And I hope that you vote for me. Remember Judge Jill. Thanks.
Thank you, Judge. Our next candidate is Mike Cahoe, candidate for state representative. He's running. I've met Mike for the first time in 2016 when he was campaigning for first-time candidate Donald Trump. Ran the Trump headquarters out in Hudson. You may have remembered it. He was a grassroots activist. After that successful campaign, he stuck with it, went and got his college degree. Mike won. Actually, that wasn't his first foray into politics. At the age of 18, a senior in high school, he won a seat on the Revere School Board. And I always tell people how great it must be to walk into class and have your teacher hand you your test back, and maybe it's a B+, maybe it's not. You look at the teacher and say, I think you could do better. And he never did that. He never needed to. But he stayed with politics. He'll tell you about his long and distinguished career in public service ever since that 2016 race when he was out helping our president, and back again in 2020 to win here in the state of Ohio when he was helping with the Northeast Ohio campaign. You know, it is a lot of There's a lot of reasons to check in to politics. There's even more reasons to check out. Mike is one of the ones who is in it. While he was going to college, he stayed active in the political process. He honed his skills, and he's here now as a candidate for state representative. Please welcome Mike Cahoe.
Thanks, Brian. So I just want to start by thanking the Ohio Christian Alliance for hosting this event and all of you for being here tonight. It's events like these that let you hear from both Republican candidates to make sure that we can send the strongest conservative to November and finally get on to actually beating Democrats. So Christian values are Ohio values. Faith in God, family, the dignity of hard work, and the relentless protection of innocent human life. And it's these bedrock values that have made Northeast Ohio such a great place to live, work, and raise a family. But we have a problem, and it's that too many people are leaving. And they're not just fleeing the cold weather. They're leaving over issues that we can absolutely control. It's jobs that pay enough, homes we can actually afford, safe streets, and schools that actually prepare our students for life. Now, unfortunately, for too long, we've sent people down to Columbus or to Washington, D.C. that are more focused on self-promotion themselves than they are on delivering for Ohio. And I think that needs to change. Now, this isn't the first time that I've stepped up and demanded that change. I wasn't even 18 when I announced my run for the Revere School Board. I was upset with the level of transparency. I thought decisions were being made behind closed doors. And so I fought for change, and I won. And in 2020, I was sworn in as the youngest elected official in the history of the state of Ohio. Now, I didn't pick an easy time to do it. It was January of 2020. 3 months later, COVID, it took a wrecking ball to our schools, sent our kids home. They weren't learning anymore. But now I'm very proud to say that we were among the first school districts in the state of Ohio to get kids back in the classroom where they belong. And then later on, I had the opportunity to work for then Lieutenant Governor John Husted and Lieutenant Governor Jim Tressel on education, workforce, and economic development, really have an impact across the state. Together, we worked with the state legislature to pass a historic expansion of career tech education, bring jobs to the state of Ohio, and make sure that our schools prepare students for life and for work. And so that work has led me to run for state representative. Now, what am I actually going to do? I've talked a lot about some of the problems that we're facing, but what am I going to do about it? What does this look like? So let me talk through a few. One is jobs. A good job solves a lot of problems for people. And if we don't have good, strong paying jobs in Northeast Ohio, we're going to continue to lose our best and brightest to other states. So it's time that we make Ohio the most business-friendly state in the nation and unleash our economy. I already worked with Husted and Tressel to bring jobs to Ohio, and if you elect me as your state representative, I'll fight to cut red tape and grow those opportunities right here at home. Next up is affordability. Things have gotten way too expensive in our state, and Ohio families are struggling to afford the rising utility bills, property taxes, health insurance premiums, and more. On energy, we need to get the government out of the way and let companies produce more energy in the state of Ohio. If we make Ohio an energy-dominant state, your costs will come down. On property taxes, things have gotten out of control since COVID. For many of you, it feels like you're renting your home from the government, and that just isn't right. So it's going to be my top priority as your state representative to fight for property tax reform and bring you property tax relief, with focus on our seniors, because it is unreasonable to ask an 85-year-old retiree to go back to work just because the government wants more of their hard-earned dollars. Next up is public safety. We need to have safe communities. And I've gone around, traveled Northeast Ohio talking to police officers and police chiefs, and they all tell me the same two things. One is that we need to stop vilifying our police officers. The left's attacks on law enforcement have made it harder and harder to recruit new officers. That needs to end. Number two is that when people commit violent crimes, whether it's assault, domestic violence, other violent crimes, we need to put them in jail. It's simple. It's common sense. We need to put them in jail. Lastly, education. Our schools actually need to prepare kids for work. We got to get back to the basics: reading, writing, math, and history, and get kids ready for jobs. Now, Northeast Ohio's best days are still ahead. But it's not because of some government program, and it's not because of politicians. It's because of the faithful, hardworking people here in this room and around our communities that will not accept anything less. So I'm asking for your support, for your prayers, and for your vote, so that together we can restore the great values that built this great nation: faith in God, family, and the defense of innocent human life. God bless you. Thank you.
Okay, we're moving along. We just have 2 candidates left, and I'm going to give you a presentation. If for some reason you have to leave early, you can make a contribution. The little bag on your table to the Ohio Christian Alliance. We have a big project of the voter guide come November. We cannot just sit this election out. It's bad when we get wiped out and there's nobody left for us to anchor with, if you understand what I'm saying. This midterm election is going to be critical, and what I'm saying to you is we're going to take some losses. You already know that. But the fact of the matter is we don't have to lose it all. And everybody said, that's right. So we're going to have to fight for everything. Okay, I'm going to introduce Stephanie Stock. She sent over her bio. I don't need that. I can tell you a little bit about Stephanie. So if you've been in Columbus in the last 5 years since COVID, and you were concerned about healthcare freedom, especially whether your decision was to take the vaccine or to not take the vaccine, then you know the work of Stephanie Stock in healthcare freedom in Ohio. How many know that work that they've done? So Stephanie also worked on something, the Never Alone Act with State Representative Melanie Miller. And we also were in support of that legislation. We sat in committee meetings with all the different folks of the bureaucracy of Columbus. There was the prison administrator there. There was the health department there and all this. And then Stephanie was calling in. And so we kind of played bad cop, good cop that day. I was the good cop, and she was calling in as the bad cop. And she was giving them what for. And if you could only see their faces, Stephanie, I was able to sit there and watch their faces. It was very interesting, very entertaining. But that bill did get passed. And lo and behold, the governor who shut down this state actually signed it into law. What does it mean? Never Alone Act is in a time of health emergency. You will never be alone. There will always be an advocate in the room with you. And that's because of the legislation that Stephanie helped to pass. Welcome with me, Stephanie Stock, candidate for the 31st Ohio District.
Just a tail onto that. Actually, the Never Alone Act is in effect right now. There's provision in there that actually says that you can get in to see a relative or a loved one right now as an advocate. So make sure you let the hospital know if they're trying to keep you out during outside of visiting hours. Everybody's talking about why they're running, and the biggest reason that I'm running is for the last 10 years of working with conservatives in Columbus, because that's the only people that I can get to work on medical freedom issues. They need reinforcements. We don't have as many, we have Republicans, but we don't have a lot of conservatives, people that are willing to be very bold and fight. And that's what voters are asking for. We're facing serious risk of voter apathy this election because the will of the people has not been heard by our own party, unfortunately. And the Democrats are responsible for a lot of horrible things in this world, but in the state of Ohio, we are supermajority Republicans, and we have a duty to our party and to the people of this state to pass solid conservative legislation for them, which is why I've been fighting so hard on issues like the Never Alone Act, conscientious right to refuse, and the Right to Try Act. Thankfully, we have all of our governor candidates this election. All are in support of OAMF legislation. So we have a real chance of making Ohio actually a more pro-medical freedom state than the state of Florida, which would be a dream come true because a lot of people don't relocate. We talk about jobs. If you're a healthcare worker and there's mandates, or if there's other restrictions, or if you're afraid you can't get the care that you need because you are having restrictions in what kind of medication you can get, like when we were denied during COVID. Those people take that into consideration when they're deciding where to move. I have people message me all the time, Stephanie, what's the legislation there? What's the medical freedom like there? We're looking to move. Should we come to Ohio? So that is something on people's minds. That is the one issue that changed the face of the entire world. We can talk about taxes, which are a huge problem, and we can talk about jobs and a lot of things, but COVID shut down the world, okay? Public health shut down the world and controlled every facet of our life, whether it was canceling elections, whether it was closing our businesses, whether it was stunting the development of our children, which I don't even know how long it's going to take us to recover from that. And the reason that those things have happened is because good people didn't stand up. The Republican Party needs to stand and say, we're going to do better by our people. And so I get criticism sometimes because I challenge Republicans to do better, but that is our duty. That is what we're expected to do, because not only are we accountable to God, we're accountable to the people of this state. And we need to make sure that we are prepared for whatever happens next. We are in an age right now of AI, the data center issue. We have threats to our cash system. We have threats to our bioweapon attack could happen at any time. What laws do we have in place to ensure that we'll remain open and we'll still be able to function? We don't have any of those laws in place right now. We don't have any guardrails around AI. Okay? These are all things we need to be proactive instead of reactive. So that is the type of legislator I plan to be. I was fighting against issues like COVID 5 years before it was cool. So in fact, I'll mention one thing. In the 2019 budget, many of you may not know this, the emergency powers for the governor were granted in that budget. Isn't that funny that we would have those granted the year before COVID, but that's when they were. And myself and my team found in the budget a provision that said the Department of Health and the governor would be able to use law enforcement to enforce any public health measure, including vaccination, in the state of Ohio. And because the crazy anti-vaxxers, as they always call us, because we stood up and said absolutely not, and because of the relationships we had developed with conservatives in the legislature and the pressure we put on them from the public, we had that removed. Can you imagine? Can you imagine what would have been done with that? I shudder to think of it. So anyway, I don't know how much time I have. I tend to be a talker, so I usually write notes, but this time I just went off the cuff. Oh, yeah, 30 seconds. So I'm asking you to vote for me because I have a proven history. I have a track record of not only fighting and being bold and never giving up. We literally had basically no budget and a few volunteers, and I have kept this organization running for 10 years. And we passed a bill in 2024. It was an act of God. I said, thank you, Jesus. And we can do it again. And if I can do that much as a citizen advocate, think of what I can do for you guys in Columbus. So I hope you'll give me your vote. Thank you.
Our last candidate, but not least, is a young man that's running for the 66th Ohio House District. Let's see, now I think that Jay Edwards said that he was 27 when he took office, right? Aiden, how old are you? 19. Come on up here, young man. So let me say a couple of things about Aiden. Aiden in high school, I think he was in his sophomore year, launched what became an organization called the American Conservative Youth Union, okay? And then he started putting chapters in how many states?
Oh, about 7 or so, a good amount.
As a sophomore in high school, someone donated an office building to him downtown in Medina on the square, and then you also worked with the county auditor, right? While you were in high school. He is now a sophomore at the Ashbrook Center at Ashland University. He's running for state representative of the 66th district. He has enough credits accomplished to be a junior. Now, if you know the Ashbrook Center, it's one of only 5 undergraduate programs in the country that require a thesis upon undergraduate level graduation, okay? It's pretty prestigious. And yet he has accomplished enough of the many things you do. I think you're running the radio station over there and a number of things. And he's running for state representative. And I've asked him, I said, what about your degree? He said, well, I'll have to put that on hold for now. Without any further ado, Aiden Haggard.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I'm Aiden Haggard. I'm Medina County's conservative running for state representative. I want to be honest with you and truthful with you tonight. I know that tends to be a hot commodity in politics these days. Unfortunately, not present in many of us. But some may call it selfish, but the reason that I'm running for state representative is because I want to start a family one day here in the state of Ohio. But is that truly selfish? Is it selfish to say that Ohioans should not have their homes threatened to taken away from them because of the rising property taxes? Is it selfish to say that the state should not take more and more of your income? Is it selfish to say that our schools are neither adequately funded nor adequate for our students? Is it selfish to say that Ohioans should not be harmed by unaccountable, unelected bureaucrats out of Columbus? I don't believe it's selfish. I don't believe that it is selfish to work to make the American dream affordable here in Ohio. If you allow me the honor of being your representative, these are my day one commitments that I am promising to you that I will work for in Columbus. Here is my contract with Medina. 5 key ironclad commitments that I will work for you on. First is that I intend on protecting you and small businesses from unaccountable, unelected bureaucrats from making regulations that harm you. This is done through passing the REINS Act. Second is preparing for what happens after we as citizens abolish the state property tax. I personally signed the petition. My opponent said he would not. My opponent said that he cannot support it because he wouldn't know what to do afterwards. Is it not the job of a state representative to answer to the calls of the people? Do you not realize the people, your neighbors, their homes being taken away from them? I truly believe that property taxes are a scam. You paid for your home, and the government taxes you as if you have to rent it from them. I'm going to Columbus to end that. People say, rightfully so, how will you fund the schools? An honest question requires an honest answer. The Supreme Court told Columbus 4 times to fix our school funding. Ohio has been illegally and unconstitutionally funding our schools for over 30 years now. They have never fixed the problem. They keep running your tax dollars through a Columbus bureaucracy where it gets diluted before it even reaches the classroom. Once again, I am running to fix this. Third is that we need to abolish the state income tax. That is an extra $2,000 to $5,000 a year put into your pocket. I met a very kind woman on the campaign trail when I was knocking on her door. She has a son born and raised in Ohio but lives in Nashville, Tennessee. They have no state income tax. He wants to come home. He's homesick. But that no state income tax out of Tennessee is too attractive to him. I think that we should be encouraging work, encouraging jobs here in the state of Ohio, not hindering them. Fourth is that we need universal school choice here in Ohio. No child should have their future hindered because the education system they live near is not best suited for them. Every child should have a quality education, whether it be public or private school, parochial or home. And lastly is the true term limits in Columbus. Not that waltz from House to Senate and then back to House to Senate to reset those term limits. We need to have true term limits. If 16 years is not long enough for you in Columbus, you are either incompetent at your job or you are taking advantage of the office, at which point, for both reasons, you should not be put back into Columbus. Unlike my opponent, I am proud to be backed by we the people in the grassroots movement. I am endorsed by the Ohio House Make America Healthy Again caucus. As a matter of fact, I've actually lost 10 pounds on the campaign trail. My blood pressure is down 14 points, even though I'm going a lot more stressed because it simply works. I'm also endorsed by the Ohio Advocates for Medical Freedom. I have a 100% rating with the National Rifle Association, the Ohio Gun Owners Association, and the Buckeye Firearm Association. You could safely say that I like my firearms. I am not bankrolled by the establishment. I am empowered by we the people, and that is you. My opponent is not only backed by the establishment suits of Columbus, but by out-of-state dark money pro-gambling PACs out of Virginia. They call themselves the American Conservative Fund. But what are they truly conserving? The only thing they're conserving is the money in their pockets that they've taken from our taxpayers and from our citizens. They're not spending money in Medina because they love my opponent. They are supporting him because they know that they can count on him for their vote. His decision's already made. He won't even listen to you. The gospel is clear. You cannot serve 2 masters. You cannot serve both God and money. Accordingly, in politics, you cannot serve 2 different groups. You cannot serve the people that elect you to office and give you your power, and you cannot serve the special interest groups that profit from them. I fully support the Ohio Christian Alliance, and I look forward to working together with them. Until then, you have a clear choice to make. Your choice is between the grassroots representation that I offer and establishment despotism. The same failures of Columbus reincarnated into a candidate, or a candidate who understands your plight. The same ideals that have failed you and I for a decade, or new, fresh ideas that have a chance at solving our long-standing problems. I cannot promise you everything. I wish I could promise you the moon. But what I can promise you is I fully dedicate myself to being your faithful voice in Columbus, and your final choice that you must make is at the ballot box. And that is whether or not you want to make the American dream affordable here in Ohio, or you want my opponent. I'm Aidan Haggard. I'm Medina County's conservative running for state representative. I'm a proud, born-again believer of Jesus Christ, and I'm so thankful to be before you guys today. Thank you very much. God bless.
Well done, young man. What do you got?
You think you're next, don't you?
I do. I do.
Your wife and one of your board members and I conspired.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Linda Bowers. I am the director of Wreaths Across America, which is an organization that puts wreaths on the Western Reserve National Cemetery, where 56,000 of our veterans rest in peace. I was given that honor about 60 days out of it having to occur last year. And the one thing that I knew is we needed to open and close with prayer, and the first call I made was to Chris Long. And he stepped up very quickly. But when we had that event, I found out something that I didn't know, that event was very important to you for a very personal reason. And I've asked Chris to come back next year, and he has agreed to do that. The first thing I want to do is give you our challenge coin from 25, but I want to read something. It's got a little surprise in it for you. This is a certificate of appreciation presented to Chris Long in grateful recognition for your dedicated service and meaningful contributions to the Ohio Western Reserve National Cemetery Wreaths Across America event. Your commitment, compassion, and leadership helped ensure that no veteran's name is forgotten, honoring the lives, service, and sacrifice of those who have served our nation. Your efforts have brought dignity, remembrance, and heartfelt tribute to this important mission. In acknowledgement of your service, you are hereby honored with the designation of our honorary chaplain for that event for as long as you want to hold that title. And this is your official save the date magnet for your refrigerator.
Thank you. Thank you, Linda. God bless you. Let's hear it for Wreaths Across America. Great organization. It was an honor to be with them this year and to continue that great notation to remember those who have served this country. Your attention to the screen, please. So we had at the State House. I used to be a street preacher. I really don't need one of these. We had a great event at the State House with these young people. And State Representative Bill Romer and State Representative Jack Daniels introduced a resolution at our request that Ohio school children would read the Declaration of Independence in celebration of our nation's 250th birthday from the 1st through the 12th grade in this calendar school year. It passed both chambers unanimously, which is good because it was the unanimous Declaration of Independence, right? Well, our Life Read program, and in fact at this time, take that envelope on your desk in front of you on the table, just grab them and pass them around. It's this yellow little card with an envelope in it. It's an opportunity for you to give both to the Ohio Christian Alliance and or Life Read. In fact, if you're going to give to Life Read, just go to the website, liferead.org, and there's an easy donation button right there. You can do that anytime. But also, I'd like you to consider committing maybe to a monthly donation. Now, we're not talking internally. We're talking just for the remainder of the year, now through December, of any amount monthly between now and December in this critical election year. And then you can review at that time whether you want to continue or not. So it's not going to be forever. But, if you would do a monthly donation, that's an option for you, or one time. So we launched this literacy program a year and a half ago in August. And my wife reminded me, she said, you actually had this idea when you were pastoring in inner city Akron. And so we knew that we had a lot of folks our age that were willing to give back now in retirement years all across the state, because the governor announced that we have an educational crisis, that the reading proficiency rate in 3rd grade and 8th grade in 2023 was 32%. It's horrible. Statewide, the national report card indicated that. So I said, well, let's start recruiting some folks. And people stepped forward. And so we have already logged 800 sessions with 300 students in just one calendar year in the classroom. We're in 4 different schools. So we went to the State House, and I want you to take a listen to this. So we had these students reading with the legislators, and we don't have the video yet. We're going to put together a promotional video, but we couldn't do that tonight. Here's some of the pictures that were taken that day, and take a listen to this.
The necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government.
The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To provide this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. He has refused his assent to laws, the most wholesome and necessary for the public good.
Did you hear the phonics in there? That's a phonics student. It's funny, sitting with these kids, and we've been in Northeast Ohio Classical Academy. How many know of that school over in Copley? We are there, tutoring with the students. We're also at a Heart of Ohio Classical Academy, another Hillsdale school, Emmanuel Christian Academy, and also at the Barberton Towpath Trail Recovery School. That's where students are able to finish their high school degree that have fallen behind in their credits. And so those are actually young adults we're working with. But you can always tell the difference between a phonics and a sight reader. A sight reader will just guess words. They'll just put a word in there. A phonics student will stop and pronounce it out. So these kids come in from these classical charter schools. They come from public school, homeschool, a variety of schools. So you're getting a whole batch of different kinds of students. We've been working with them. And actually, the letters of accommodation that we've received from these administrators said you're an integral part of what we're doing to raise the reading proficiency. So we'll have some numbers for you when the report cards come out this next term and at the end of this year. I want you to take a look at those faces, though. This was a great day because the office holders, I gave them a little verbal essay. I said, you tell us what America means to you. Kind of like what Neil did tonight. I love his story, don't you? The 3 mothers. I love that. Look at the faces of those kids. They were just glued to listening to their fellow students read the Declaration of Independence. They came from all over the state of Ohio, urban areas, rural areas, Christian public school. Then we had we spent what was left of this little grant that we got. We got our first grant as an organization with Life Read. And it was about $7,000. So we thought, well, let's do something with it. So this is what we did, the State House event. We spent all $7,000 at the State House event because we paid for the lunch for the kids. And so it was the trappings, of all this. So you take the big house, the big room, the atrium. How many have ever been to the atrium, right? So we took that. And then the legislators really bought in, and then I had them take the kids on a tour afterwards. It was a Friday. There was no session, so they had the place to themselves. They got the sergeant of arms to sit where you used to sit, Jay. Can you pick out your seat there where you used to sit? Oh, okay, that's right. Not like Derek Marin. He was sitting in the back by the Democrats, okay? He lost the speaker's race that year. But what was great is these kids, they were sitting there casting votes. You like that? That's what they did. I've never even done that. I've never been able to sit down there with them. So that's what we do with Life Read. So take a few minutes, and we're going to close here. Nate Harmon is going to come back, and we're going to sing God Bless America, and we could really use that right now, can't we? I could ask for a straw poll tonight. How many were for the war when it was launched? How many was against it? But how many are glad that the shooting stopped? How many are glad that the shooting stopped, right? I'm rooting for the president. I'm rooting for the president. I don't think there's a day that goes by that he doesn't insult somebody. That's kind of hard to deal with as a Christian. Isn't that right, Pastor Mike? But you've got to go ahead and pray for the man, and that's what we're doing. And don't forget George over there. He's still silent. He's waiting for a couple of bids on him at Valley Forge. But as you're preparing a time to give an opportunity for giving, and maybe you just want to make a pledge for that, we appreciate it very much. And with us now is Pastor Nate Harmon to lead us in God Bless America.
Thank you, Chris. Let's thank the Longs one more time. What an this is a ministry. I'm a pastor, so I get to say that, and I know Chris's heart is ministry. I've known them for the past couple of decades now. And let me just say this, behind every great man is really the support and wisdom and strength and servanthood of his wife, Sylvia. So thank you for all that you do. She really is the backbone of your reading program as well. God bless you. Our church supports this. We love them. There is not another voice like this in Ohio that brings this type of thing to the table. So keep that in mind as you're making your donations tonight. You can stand with me or take your commitment cards when you stand, okay? All right? We want to make sure we get those commitments in tonight, all right? And let's sing together, God Bless America. Would you sing with me? God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
We're going to close tonight with a quick prayer. So if you'll pray with me. Father, we thank you for this time together. We thank you for this nation that we live in, this state that we live in. Father, as we depart tonight, Lord, we just ask you to be with us. God, give us wisdom as we prepare to go to the polls on May 5th and in November. Give us wisdom as we vote. Be with these candidates, Lord. We pray you protect them and bless their families. We thank you so much for their sacrifice and their willingness to put themselves out there and on the line. Keep them safe as they travel about. And Lord, I just pray you will let them, Father, govern, legislate, and judge as you would have them, Father. That they would seek your wisdom above all else. Father, thank you for this privilege of gathering tonight. Be with us as we go forth. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Alrighty. If you can hear me, that means my mic is working and that we are live. So, to test the mic, I want you to go ahead and comment what your favorite color is. Mine is pink. Tomorrow it might be purple. But for right now, I'm feeling a little girly. So I'm going to check the comments. I'm going to find out what your favorite color is. That's how I know my mic is working. We need somebody to check the comments. Is the mic on? I'm over here saying if my mic is working, I'll know, because you're going to list your favorite color in the comments. So as we are finishing up, we are going to touch base with a couple of candidates that spoke tonight. It was a really, really good night. We had some candidates that had their opponents here. And what I will say, what sets us apart from a lot of the other races that we've seen, the gentlemen, or the ladies and the gentlemen in this room tonight, it was such an atmosphere of community and respect. There was no mudslinging. Kerry Coleman out of district, he's running for District 13. He didn't bring up his opponent at all. He said that his opponent is Amelia Sykes, and regardless of the outcome of the primary, that will continue to be his opponent. And the other opponents that are listed on the ballot for May 5th will be his partners. And I just really appreciated that. I thought it was a really good sentiment to add. I'm going to snag Aiden. Aiden is running for the House. Aiden, come on over, baby.
Baby, you want to move Medina? Thank you very much.
So I'm really glad that we just caught that, because let me tell you, Aiden's speech, it was the last one of the night, and it was the greatest one of the night. I was hooting and hollering. I was back there. There's a couple of moments where I just had my hands to my face, and I said, his parents must be so proud. And part of me was like, are we at a political event, or are we in church? So Aiden, I'm sorry, honey, I was not expecting what I saw. I mean, you were born for such a time as this. I mean, what was that like for you?
Oh, I was just on top of the world. I'm just so thankful. I mean, I really have a calling for this. I love our state. I love my community. And I want to, like I said, I want to make sure that I have the opportunity to start a family here in Ohio. And so that's the best thing that I'm looking for. What can I do? And, some people may call it selfish, but I think it's looking out for every single person, making sure every single person has that opportunity to live the American dream. My father fought in Korea and Afghanistan in the years of 96 to 03 as a military policeman. He fought for my rights. When he came back, the GI Bill failed him. He couldn't go to college. And so what he ended up doing is he started hanging billboards out of Cincinnati. He lived in Kentucky with us. He started a family. I have a wonderful family. My mother is wonderful as well. I'd like to give a huge shout out to my parents. I mean, they're a big reason why I am who I am. And
Yes, they deserve it, because you were just a wonderful reflection. They should be so proud of you.
Well, thank you so much. And I'm not even, none of these ideas are my own, truly. These are just some ideas reflecting back at what my community is saying. My community is the one that is saying we need to abolish property taxes. We need to abolish the state income tax. We need to have adequate schools for our students. And so it's just, none of these are my own ideas. They're the communities, and I just want to amplify that down in Columbus.
So how can we help you? Like, what is it that you need? Do you have a website? Are you needing donations? Are you needing endorsements? Are you needing door knockers? What can we do to get this young man in Columbus?
Well, all things considered, I'm going up against the establishment machine. My opponent's backed by Huffman and his caucus. My opponent's also backed by, like I said, the American Conservative Fund, a phony political action committee out of Virginia. And so if you go to haggardforohio.com, or you look up Aiden Haggard for state representative, please help us so much. Please, first of all, your prayers is the most important thing ever. There's been a lot of answered prayers on this campaign trail. That's the only way that we're winning this. If you go onto our campaign website, haggardforohio.com, you can gratefully look out there. You can see if you'd like to contribute your time, your money, your prayers, most importantly, though. And so that's the greatest way to help out.
Oh, Aiden, thank you so much. And I just wish you all the best of luck. And absolutely, everybody, check out Aiden. He's 19, but he carried himself a lot better than a lot of these grown men here. So thank you. Thank you, darling. All righty. Hi. Yes, I'm Hillary.
Brian Williams. I was coming over to get the sign, but I'll say hello.
Awesome. Brian Williams. He is the chairman of the Summit County
I am.
GOP. Yes, perfect. Awesome. I have a question for you. When it comes to District 13, is there normally that many candidates that try to run against Amelia Sykes? I feel like this is like a really popular year right now.
It is. I mean, it's especially popular in the sense that when they through the district, they made it less Republican rather than more Republican, yet still 4 candidates came forward and said, got to run. And I think that's an indication that people are really fed up with her level of representation. You heard from the candidates. They all have very powerful stories to tell of why she's out of step with the 13th district. I agree with it. I mean, she may represent some portion of Akron, but she does not represent any of Stark County. She doesn't represent the rest of Summit County in terms of the values she votes for. So I think that's what motivated all the candidates to come forward. They all came forward on their own. They recruited themselves, and I think that says a lot.
It does say a lot. So what is the plan, obviously, after the primary? What is the plan to, for all of your counties in that district to come together to finally get her out of Columbus once and for all?
Well, I think what Kerry Coleman said is what we have to take as our charge in the general election. First, we have to unify the ticket. We got to get everybody working together and saying that the upgrade that we need to make is in replacing the person that's there now, Amelia Sykes. And to do that, we have to let everybody in on the little secret that is her voting record, the little secret that is her liberal representation in Washington, and not the campaign that she comes forward with. Her TV commercials and her mailers and all of her digital ads, they won't tell the truth about her and her liberal voting record. They'll pretend to be far more moderate than she has been in Washington. So it's incumbent upon us as a party and our candidate to just educate people to say, you're not getting a representative that matches your values.
Awesome. Thank you so much for all of that. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, of course. All right. We have a couple of, I think we were waiting on, I think Casey was going to come back over, but I'll tell you what, I think there's like a line of people wanting to talk to him. He's pretty popular at the moment, which is really cool. How are you? We're live, so I'll give you a hug. Of course, always. I think so too. I really do. Hi, I'm Hillary.
Kevin Savita with the run for Congress in the 13th District here.
You're running? Okay, so
yeah.
We were just talking about the 13th District, and I was talking with Brian about, how many candidates there are, and, in his opinion, and honestly in mine too, for one, it shows what a terrible job Amelia Sykes is doing,
Yeah, absolutely.
But what is, as far as after the primary is concerned, as a party, what should be the game plan to really get her out of office?
Number one, we're going to come together as a party, and we're going to go out there and do a lot of grassroots work to make sure that people understand what we actually stand for. The Democrats have spent a lot of time talking about this is what Republicans are, this is that, this is this. That's not who we are. We're just every ordinary day Americans who want to come out, have a family, do our jobs, and just contribute to society and go back and do our own things. The Democrats want to control us, and we're going to put our message out there, and we're going to win this. I think most people in the district, especially Akron, Canton region, that's what they want. They just want a normal, simple life where they're not overtaxed and are paying for frivolous little government spending. We could sell that message, and they're going to come on board.
I think so too. Especially, as Brian said, her voting record is not indicative as to what she's representing as far as her campaign. It's like apples to oranges. So I really appreciate, it seems like for all of the other 13 candidates, you guys are really on the same page. You're going to let it be up to the voters.
Yep.
I've seen such a respectful air about that particular race, which I just admire. I think that says a lot about you guys as people and candidates. But also, I'm hoping that other races can kind of learn something,
Americans are tired of the mudslinging.
Yes,
and I think this 13th district in Ohio is a good example of how you run a clean race and get the best candidate forward and work together. So that's where we're at with this one.
Yes, and I appreciate that so much. Kevin is running for the 13th district. Kevin, where can we find out more information about you?
You can go online. I'm all over online. You can see Kevin Savita for Congress. We got my points out there. We might be knocking on your door if you're in the district, so don't hesitate to talk to us.
Awesome.
So.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Yeah, have a good night.
Thank you. All righty. Let's see. We have Carrie. Carrie, come on over. So I was just telling Kevin, and Carrie is another candidate for the Ohio 13th district. And I want to say, when I first interviewed you a few months ago at Bob France's event,
yes,
you said something that it surprised me, but in a good way. And it was off camera. And I had asked you about what was going on and how you felt in your race. And the first thing that you said to me was, I'm not going to talk about my opponents.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And
in terms of the primary opponent.
Correct.
Not the Democratic opponent.
Correct.
Yes.
And for you to be, and you've stuck with that, because I've been following you, and even tonight, you really have stayed true to that.
Absolutely.
But so have your opponents.
Absolutely, 100%.
And I think that at least as far as I'm concerned, you set that precedent, and then they followed suit. And that's for Neil, for Margaret, Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a very respectful race, and as I'm not in your district, but as a constituent of Ohio, I appreciate that because I think what our party really needs right now is unity, and to make it about what the people want, and then you go forward to fight the real opponent, which obviously is the Democrats.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to extend my gratitude for that.
Well, thank you so much. And the thing about Republicans and conservatives, and whether you're an independent or maybe a disenfranchised Democrat, we've got to have respect for each other. Americans, patriotic, Christian, people that have values, okay? When we start disrespecting each other, we fragment any chance that we've got for strong elections or a process that we could actually help fix this country. So, to me, it's incredibly important to say to these gentlemen, in the end, we're all going to be on the same team. If they win, I win, whatever, we're still going to be on the same team. And that's a pact we have. We will be on the same team.
Yeah, and it's been very apparent with what I've seen in not just your speeches, but your opponent's speeches as well. So again, I appreciate you guys staying true to that pact. My one question that I was thinking about earlier, that I'm glad I had the opportunity to ask you now, is Aiden Haggard. He is running for the House, and he's 19. What do you think about that, as this is your first campaign as well? And I'm assuming you're probably 21, not exactly 19.
Right.
So what are your thoughts there?
I think it's fantastic. I have known him for just a short amount of time, maybe a year, and I've watched his focus, his intensity, and his desire to fix, especially public education. And I've seen just how doggedly he works toward that. I admire him a lot, and I wish him much, much success.
Do you think it's the responsibility of that young of a generation to step up, or do you think this is, like he mentioned in his speech, well, and also you're a first-time candidate, because obviously people who are in Columbus right now aren't doing their jobs?
Well, can I give you just a little example of somebody that started when they were 17, changing the world? Charlie Kirk. Okay, he moved mountains, he changed the world. You can't be too young to get involved. Mike Cahoe started in politics when he was 16. He's well-placed, he's a wonderful conservative. And I will tell you, you can't start too young if you have a desire to fix this country, no matter what your age is. Or if you're retired, or if you think, well, you know what, nothing better to do, my kids have all grown up, whatever, I'm at that stage in life where I can give this kind of time to it. I don't care what age you are. If you got something to give, please, we need it.
I appreciate that so much. As a mom with 2 young kids, I get asked a lot, well, shouldn't you be focusing on your children? Shouldn't you be doing this? It's the mom shaming.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that answer, because if you can, you should.
Well, I've said on the radio so many times, it is wonderful that you're a patriot and you love your country. But right now, that's not good enough. We've all got to do what we're capable of to fix this country, because we're under attack. Our very existence as a free country is under attack. We've all got to do our part. So I thank anybody that will step up and do it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This is Kerry Coleman. He is running for Congress for Ohio's 13th District. Thank you again for being here. I really appreciate it.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you. All righty. Kerry Coleman. First-time candidate, but you would never know it. I mean, he's obviously a very seasoned professional. And then the man of the hour, we have Chris Long. Chris, we're live.
All right.
Yes. So, question for you. First question is, how long have you guys, as far as the Ohio Christian Alliance, how long have you guys been doing this Freedom Banquet?
Oh, so the Freedom Banquet series started in 2006, but I started in 2004 as far as events like this with banquets. So we've had over 35 over the years, so that's quite a few. Since 2004, we've had 35. Now, the organization's been around since 1991. I came on in 2002, and then we kind of ramped things up. Our name changed from the Christian Coalition of Ohio to the Ohio Christian Alliance in 2006. So, this is it's just a great atmosphere. We call it the Freedom Banquet, and it's just a great time for people to come, fellowship in a way, and to really encourage each other. So it was great to hear from all the various candidates tonight, right? I was just here talking to one of the campaigns and thanked me and said, this is great to hear from all of each of the candidates as to why they're running, and you get to hear a little bit, too, of their vision of America, which is great, right? And so we're going to get that mobilization, I think, going forward. So right now, voter turnout is low early on as far as early voting. And that may be because the focus is now returning to single-day voting. Even the president's talking about that, right? So we'll see what happens on May 5th. It very well may be that a lot of Republicans show up on May 5th, and this will be a very interesting primary. Now, we have some contested primaries. Obviously, the gubernatorial race, the treasurer's race, the secretary's race. So it's going to be interesting. It's all about turnout. So, if it's a low voter turnout, and especially the 13th congressional as well, it could go any way.
So as far as the Ohio Alliance, what is your guys' plan, being obviously conservative Christians, what is your guys' plan to help get out the vote?
So what we always do, right? We push out through social media, and actually platforms like this. The Ohio Political News has been great, because you're getting the message out, you're featuring these issues. Joe covers it on his Sunday night podcast as well. You're doing great with, I saw your coverage of CPAC, and so we were able to see some of the things that happened down there. So that keeps people interested in what the issues are. Casey Putch that's here tonight, running for governor, we got to hear from him in person rather than through some... I'm getting some... You talked about the attack ads. I saw some crazy things from the liberal media, right? Yeah. And so I'm like, wait a second, why are they attacking this guy? They might be attacking this guy because he's really making some noise, and this is really a primary, right? So Vivek Ramaswamy couldn't be with us tonight. He had a previous scheduled appearance down there at Pike County at the Republican Lincoln Day down there. He did send a representative. They sent out a video. We'll play it later on social media. We weren't able to fit it in the program tonight. But again, these are all spirited primaries, and it's important for candidates, and I think you heard from one of them, Kerry Coleman, said whatever happens, we all need to kind of unify.
Yes.
And so mobilize towards November, because we all become the losers. If we get wiped out in a down year, in a midterm, and then we all lose, because we'll lose some of our really good, solid conservatives in Congress, at the State House, our statewide offices. What wasn't mentioned tonight is the Attorney General. If we lose the state attorney general's office to a liberal Democrat, we're in real trouble.
Yes, that's right. And he's, I believe, the gentleman that is running.
Keith Faber.
Well, right, but on the Democrat side, he was the one that went on social media and said what he said about Charlie Kirk.
Absolutely.
So that just goes to show you how. It's like kind of like life or death.
And what he said about Trump.
Yes.
Yeah, the guy's a lunatic.
Absolutely.
And his own party is really nervous about him, but yet, in a low voter turnout year, in a bad scenario, that guy could be your next attorney general. Kiss goodbye. Your gun rights, all the things that we've passed over the years. Yeah. Ohioans have not, in recent memory, have no memory of how bad it can be when you have liberals in seats of really powerful government, like attorney general, the governor's office, secretary of state. So
the stakes have never been as high as they are now.
Absolutely. So, the president actually, he kind of holds the cards. If he can wrap things up with the war in the Middle East, okay, and it looks as if there is negotiations going on. That's why we said the shooting is stopped, which is great, right? And so there's negotiations with Iran. They're basically on their knees, as it were. And the president's called their bluff because he's controlling the Strait of Hormuz with a blockade. And the Israelis have stopped firing into Lebanon, and they're starting negotiations, which is good. And so if we can get peace in the Middle East and can get back to domestic policy, because young MAGA, it wasn't really for the war. Young MAGA is saying, where's the affordability issues? Where is housing, cars, rising wages? Those are the things, Mr. President, you promised us. Right. If he and Congress can get back to that, that should turn things around for November. And again, there could be a dividend check. Remember the president talked about that?
I'm still waiting on mine.
It may be coming midsummer. So, all these deals he's striking with oil, with Venezuela, with the tariffs and things like that. Of course, he got a setback in the court on that. But he's finding other ways for streams of revenue to pour into this country, and it is. So we're kind of the canary in the mine shaft. We're a small nonprofit in that sense of financially. We're not like some of our partners who have maybe $6-7 million that they're operating. We don't, okay? We don't have $1.1 million. But we make do with what we have, and it goes further. But I can tell when people are giving even the smaller donations, they're feeling better about their own financial situation, and then they're contributing to nonprofits like ours and or some of the life groups. Then they know that, things are starting to loosen up. People are starting to feeling better about the economy. So let's hope that that's the case.
I hope so, too. I mean, as a young MAGA myself,
yes.
My husband and I, we did everything the way that you're supposed to.
Yes.
We went to school, we got married, then we had kids, we have full-time jobs, and we're still unable to seem to get ahead. We're still unable to buy a home. So I understand exactly what you're saying, and I feel that, and I appreciate somebody from your generation acknowledging that, because that's not happening a whole lot. So I really appreciate that. And where can people join or donate to the Ohio Christian Alliance?
Right, a couple of things. So our literacy program is Life Read, and that's where we're doing tutoring with students and in the schools, and we have volunteers going in, but we want to expand that program out statewide. They could go to liferead.org and just make a contribution of any size would be helpful. Also, the Ohio Christian Alliance, we're going to have a voter guide. It will be on your cell phone. We're going to really ramp up our game, but some of the issues are going to be H-1B visa replacement program, the AIs and the data centers coming in, and encroachment on land and property and farm rights. All this, we're going to address those issues in the voter guide. So every election, we kind of look at the issues and we put other issues up front. So people are going to see a different kind of voter guide. It's going to be life. It's going to be First Amendment. It's going to be religious liberty. Of course, that's our foundation as an organization. But it's also going to be more relevant issues as far as real estate taxes as well. And so we're kind of pounding that. For years, we were one of the groups early on to do away with the end Ohio's estate tax. And so when that was finally accomplished, right, we had to actually twist the governor Kasich's arm to get it done because he had forgotten he'd made that promise.
I'm sure he did.
And we had to remind him. And he did do it then. So Ohio doesn't have an estate tax anymore, right? So it can be done. And like we heard tonight, this thing has to stop as far as you're buying a home. The next thing you know, all these assessment taxes come on it. It's like, what's that all about, right? There needs to be other funding for schools, for police, fire, and some of the community services. There's got to be another way to fund it. So all those issues will be in the voter guide. And they can find out more at our website, Ohio Christian Alliance. They also sign up to our email list there very easily. And just that's the best way for us to communicate with you is through email.
Awesome. This is Chris Long. He is the president of the Ohio Christian Alliance. Thank you so much for talking with us. And thank you for inviting us here. This was a wonderful banquet. The room was full.
Ohio political news with us, for sure.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. All righty. I think we just have to snag Casey, I think. He's with... Huh? We gotta get Casey? Mm-hmm. He's with his adoring fans. I love it. It's so sweet. George, are you ready for this? Bye, Jay. It was good to talk to you.
Hey, take care.
We have George with Casey's campaign, and we're going to talk to George while we're waiting for Casey.
Yeah.
How are things looking? How are things going?
I'm going to have to make all your viewers sign an NDA before we can talk about anything. So that should be going out. Just sign up in the chat, an NDA, non-disclosure agreement.
Love it.
Kidding.
I love it.
And we're killing it as far as social media. I mean, listen, our campaign doesn't have 10 million to drop into a bunch of ads to, boomers on Fox TV. We are for real, a grassroots campaign movement. And I'm telling you what, it is wild to see how many messages we are getting on a daily basis. It's overwhelming. We can't keep up. And so the support has been unreal, unlike anything. And here's the really neat thing that we're seeing too is particularly young men are really just like, Casey, what can we do to help you? What can we do? Because the young men are sort of looking at, and we heard from a candidate tonight that was sort of looking at, what is my future here in Ohio? What is my future here in America? And, the Vivek campaign is like, hey, well, we're going to slam Ohio with a bunch of data centers. We're going to import a bunch of H-1B workers, and we're going to sell off Ohio to the highest bidder and make Ohio a tech bro capital. And I just, that is not resonating with our rural farmers. That's not resonating with our blue-collar workers. That's not resonating with our young men. That's not resonating with the future of Ohio. No one wants to change Ohio into something that it isn't. People want what they remember growing up, a safe place to live, a place where it feels like home, not where it feels like you're in a third world country or, some changing metropolis, or now all of a sudden your house is next to a data farm, and heat's blowing out of it and it's, ruining the water supply. So we're hearing from voters all across Ohio, and it's been unbelievably moving in our campaign, all of our campaign. We're constantly sending each other screenshots of messages we get from people that are like, Casey, we need you to win. We need you to win. So that's the update on the campaign trail.
So where can people help? I mean, are we looking for door knockers at this point? I mean, the primaries are like a matter of weeks away. So what is your guys' need? What's the next step?
The biggest thing is continue to engage on social media if you're not already, posting in groups. I mean, that is the place where the world is at now. And so that's where our campaign is primarily focused, is just grassroots on social media. But absolutely, our website, Casey Puch's website, has a volunteer page that you can sign up. And we get door knockers right out the door. So we're really excited about our door knockers. We're kind of even ramping it up the next few weeks because the primaries are right around the corner.
Excellent. So I want to say I saw a poll not too long ago that showed Casey way above his opponents. Where did that poll come from, and who was it targeted to? Because I hadn't seen any poll remotely close to that, but also you can't always stress where your polls are coming from.
Online polls are really hard to gauge. They're just historically hard to gauge. However, it's really interesting. I mean, Casey, as you know, he's only been campaigning since December. Vivek has been campaigning for 3 years. So it's amazing that anytime you look at the comment section of something Vivek is doing, it just support for Casey. And it's is this for real? How is this possible? And it just is. There's just very few. There's Vivek supporters out there. I don't want to say there isn't, but I think this one of the elements of this race is, what is Ohio? Does it mean something to be American? Can anyone in the world just come here and be American and just say the right things and have the right tech bro investors like Peter Thiel, and then just get into office? If you pretend to be conservative enough, can you fool the public? And I think, maybe even to Vivek's disadvantage, that campaigning for 3 years, people are saying, wait a second, we're not sure we want this for Ohio. We're not sure this is the right move for Ohio. And we're seeing that online.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and I've seen it for myself. A lot of the things that Vivek or Alex with the ORP is posting, the comments are full of Casey supporters.
Alex, we're after you, buddy.
I mean, that is true. It is true. So I think that's something that should be considered. There is a candidate out there that the people are resonating with. So
and
take that for what you will.
There's a difference between a candidate that has been endorsed before the primaries even got a chance to start. And I think that should say something. And, we're Republicans. We love the Republican Party. But that doesn't mean that our party officials are perfect. And it doesn't mean that they can't, I don't know, can I say be bought out? Because it seems odd that never before do we ever endorse a candidate behind closed doors a year before a primary, and then all of a sudden we have a billionaire running in Ohio that comes with a lot of money, and then randomly we have an endorsement a year before the primaries, before anyone can put their name in the hat. And I'll just be honest, I'm just speaking for myself, that seems kind of shady to me, Alex.
I mean,
I'm a bit savage.
Listen, we are First Amendment appreciators, believers. So we're live. While the mic is yours, absolutely feel free. And I appreciate you speaking with us, because it is nice that we're seeing conservatives say, regardless how they feel about either candidate, they're still saying, hold on a second. The way it went down.
Hold up.
Wait a minute. Exactly.
Something ain't right here.
Right. So I appreciate, the young people at least getting engaged, because I don't think that's what anybody counted on, especially after Charlie, because we all really just kind of, we felt defeated. We felt like we lost our voice.
I'll tell you what, Charlie is the reason that I'm in this campaign. I wouldn't be campaigning if it wasn't for Charlie. And unfortunately, it took him being shot to get me politically engaged. And I'm not proud to admit that, but that's just the reality. And I pray there's 100,000, a million other young men that get politically engaged because someone couldn't be, because someone's life was taken.
Thank you, George, so much. This is George. He works for the Casey Putsch campaign, and Casey was here tonight at the Ohio Christian Alliance speaking. We're going to see if we can snag him real quick before we sign off. You know what we need to get, George, for you is we need to get one of those canes, like how they end the cartoons.
Oh, yeah.
And just grab him and pull.
Casey's right over there.
Right.
Let me see if I can get him.
Awesome.
Hang tight.
Thank you. My microphone.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for having us. I really appreciate it.
Means I have to Yeah, you got it. I'll get you all. Yes, I'll make it happen. I'll make it happen. I don't know. Am I on camera right now? Okay, perfect. Come on over. It's live action. Yee! Remember that Turtle Man?
Turtle Man?
Yeah, it was. He was out of Southern Kentucky, and he had a show on Animal Planet, and he was like this really, really crazy hillbilly guy with like no teeth, and he would always say live action, and then he would go yee. So that's how we do. Oh, it's worth looking up. So Casey delivered a speech that we haven't gotten to see that side of Casey, and it was. You were talking about your grandfather,
yes,
and your family's heritage in this country and how far back it goes, and your grandfather's sacrifice, and the Bible and the ring. And I'm over here like, trying to not ruin my makeup. But I wanted to ask you, what triggered you to share that side of you tonight when it's not a side that we typically see on social media?
No, and generally speaking, no politician wants to share anything personal about them for fear of attack. We're at the Ohio Christian Alliance, and that matters. That's the name. That's for a reason. People can come to my rallies. They can see all the political points I'm going to run on, or am running on, everything that we're going to push. You can be entertained by silly things on social media or in person. But tonight I wanted to speak from the heart and share what our country, what our family, the heritage, and frankly, faith and Christianity mean to me. And even including sharing a story of some pain when I was younger and getting past that, but the great mentor and role model my grandfather was from World War II generation stuff. And again, I'm carrying the same Bible tonight that he was given in 1933 by a Sunday school teacher and took with him through the war.
That's amazing. That's amazing that you still have that. There's a lot of family heirlooms that don't make it that long. I mean, and it's like in perfect condition. So obviously, it's something that you clearly treasure. And I guess what I wanted to. Oh my gosh! Hey, he's telling the truth, you guys. Mrs. Stevens, 1933. Oh my gosh! Yeah, you guys have to see this. That's beautiful. Are you able to focus? Oh my gosh. That's amazing. Well, and I appreciate you obviously sharing that with us. But the one thing that really was not touched on tonight was the data center crisis. It's a crisis.
Oh, well, yes. It's horrific, actually. AI, data centers. This is the new nuclear arms race. I'm not going to hold any punches. We
didn't think you would.
Yeah, there's a small number of billionaires, frankly, that exhibit dark triad personality traits that should be nowhere near leadership for humanity. They're more than playing with fire, and they're creating the thing that is 100% not just a global surveillance state, but something to program and push the people around. These data centers have been effectively slipped in under the cover of night, NDA forms. And let's be honest, the billionaire elite knew exactly what they were doing to take advantage of us and to push these in before anybody would know what's up. Tax abatements for 10 to 15 years. By the time they probably will be obsolete, and they're on to the next thing. We will be subsidizing the cost of their electricity through skyrocketing bills. They're not creating good power generation, clean power generation, even cold power generation that's good for everybody. When they need more, they'll bring in massive gas turbines only for themselves. And then, of course, you have massive environmental concerns. Genuine. I'm not saying this is a crazy leftist.
It's real. We're seeing it in other states.
Legitimately destroying the water. I mean, I'm a sportsman, a fisherman. I've spent so many hours standing in a river. Forever chemicals, heavy metals, raising the temperatures of the delicate ecosystems, our Ohio River Valley. In fact, as Vivek had been running, he was always saying, I think Ohio River Valley could be the next Silicon Valley. That's a lie. That was to make everybody think that what's happening is going to be good. When it creates no jobs, destroys our water, including our aquifers, we have to pay for it one way or another. It's an absolute leech. They are absolutely taking advantage of us and making us pay for the thing that's going to allow them to control us. We are at a horrific chapter in human history. There's no real leadership as to where this goes. And the meaningless platitudes they give us that, maybe it'll help solve cancer. No, it won't. They're using this for control. It's horrific. And everyone needs to stand up and fight absolutely right now, because once this is in place, at best, our government will probably end up being Plato's allegory of the clave, and we'll all be stuck watching the shadows on the wall, and I'm not okay with that.
So how would you suggest that we fight it? Because a lot of people that I'm talking to are seeing it like at a local level, like their city councils are the ones that are obviously bypassing this through without them, without anybody knowing or anybody's permission. So as far as, what you would do as governor, would you have a say into what cities allow? I mean, how would that work?
Well, first of all, with regard to how to fight them, you have to get together. You have to assemble. You have to organize. For new people getting together that don't like it, realize we are being taken advantage of, and do not for a moment let up. But look for the council of people who've already been successful. Thank you.
Get the documents book.
Oh, I'm honored.
Cheers.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
kindly.
Thank you.
It must be pushed back upon, and look for the people who have had success pushing them back and shutting them down. What did they do? What were the circumstances that allowed you to do this? The other thing is, of course, look for your candidates who genuinely are pushing back, who do not take money, who are not connected to those that are trying to push it. That's also your best bet. But the fact of the matter is, we all have to get together and fight for this right now, because it's happening insanely quickly. And when we lose these rights and we lose this power and we're pushed into a surveillance state with digital IDs, digital currencies, we're stuck in a matrix that I don't want to be part of.
So I heard you're a big fan of H-1B visas.
No. No, I'm not. And I would like to say this in the most even-keeled of way.
Oh, good luck.
Well, here's the truth of the matter. If you say you don't like H-1B visas, you're probably going to get said that you're racist.
Yes.
The fact of the matter is, H-1B visas were designed for different purposes originally, but the billionaires and corporations are taking advantage of them to take advantage of cheap foreign labor, 72% from India, the rest largely from China, because they can push those people around more. They can pay them less. But the problem is, when you flood America with these cheap foreign workers from India, not only is it a dissimilar culture that'll breed resentment and other difficulties, you are destroying the job market for young people. You take the jobs off the table, and the companies will then pay the Americans less. So the other diabolical thing about H-1Bs that the corporations and billionaires know, it's a way to force lower standards on Americans, to put Americans in a place where they will accept a lower quality of life, lower wages, and fight back less. I'm not okay with that, and I don't care what anyone calls me.
So speaking of what people are calling you, did you know what your last name meant when you decided to choose your own last name?
No, I didn't get to do that. My family on my father's side came from Bavaria in the 1800s to the Cleveland area, and that's that.
So you didn't choose your last name?
No, I didn't. It is, in fact, German. And if any of you have been in American politics for more than 5 minutes, or have gone on the news and you weren't born 5 minutes ago, you will realize that if anything remotely deals with Germany, they'll try to find one really old, lame, tired way of slandering you.
They absolutely will. And honestly, I think this is just more of it shows more how effective you are and how popular your campaign has been.
Well,
because they wouldn't be trying so hard.
No, they say when you're taking flack, you're over the target. And boy, am I over the target.
You are very, very much
fact,
over the target.
The news in the past week hasn't figured out which way to attack me at. I'm like, just, guys, okay, it's a Tuesday. All right, call me a Nazi on Tuesday. Okay, you can call me a bigot or something the next day, and then sexist on Thursday. And they don't even know what to do. So they're all just going crazy.
I love it. I mean, it's one of those things that it just shows that you're effective. You know, I mean, and a lot of people who go against the grain and who step out into this arena without having, the backing or without being hand chosen by the establishment. We go through it, and I appreciate you and Kim both going through it.
Oh, she's amazing.
She really is. Kim is a really good friend of mine, and I absolutely adore her, and I think she really is just the perfect companion.
Oh, she's awesome.
Yeah, for this race.
Traffic, Kim, there's going to be turbulence.
Right.
No, but I do have to point this out. Obviously we're running as a Republican. We know how all the old attacks go, Republicans, Democrats, liberals, conservatives, etc. But I would like to remind everybody, I've spent the last over a decade of my life mentoring young men and women of every different background and race and the difference, only because they're fine people and fine Ohioans, and helping them get jobs with no help from the left. That's what the left's supposed to help, right? I just did because I think that's the right thing to do, the Christian thing to do to help make the future better. Building the environmentally friendly car. I thought the left was supposed to care about that, right? Make a car that people can actually afford. But you're going to get attacked. You're going to get pigeonholed. But the fact of the matter is, I simply don't care. I'm going to keep moving forward. When the dust settles, hopefully people will see my background, that I've always been fighting to make things better for everybody. And with our policy, with our great team, with Kim Georgeson a part of it, I think people are going to see that we actually have everyone's best interest in mind, because selfishly, I'd like a future too, because I still work for a living, and I've got my second little girl on the way in 2 months.
That is so, so exciting. you guys can't see this, but behind the camera, there is like a fan club over here of young men waiting to talk to Casey. Oh, there they are. There they are. Look at them. Say hi, guys. That's who they're. Yeah, that's who they're waiting for. So I will let you get to your adoring fans, but obviously, thank you so much for coming all the way out here. Please send Taylor and the girls my love.
To be fair, Taylor is so strong of character. Yes. My grandmother,
and she's hot.
She'll appreciate.
Yeah.
I'll play that clip for her. Thank you. My World War II grandmother would be proud because my wife certainly has that strength of character as a woman. Amazing mother, amazing wife, and perhaps a so-called First Lady of Ohio one day.
We shall see. The best of luck to you. Thank you. Thank you. That was Casey Putsch running for Ohio governor. It's going to be a really, really exciting primary, you guys. I think we're closing the place down. Joe, did you want to sign off for the night? Did you want to sign off for the night? Yeah. All right, here's Joe, y'all.
All right, so Hillary did a fantastic job. I feel so bad for you. All right, we're going to sign off on the count of 3. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, done.